So, anyways, the proper way to get through to people is just to, talk down on them, right? That's what I always say. That's what I learned at college. That's what I learned when I went to college. All right. Hello, ladies, gents, and bees. It's me, Hirsch, as always, accompanied by Jimmy. What's going on, Jimmy?
Hi.
Hello. Well, today we're going to start off the show. We're going to talk about a couple of things that have happened in the news cycle over the last 24 hours. There have been a lot of things going on. I just have to ask you, Jimmy, how was it waking up today to the beautiful
Ugh.
uh, trifecta, almost, if you will, of news stories?
It was almost orgasmic a little bit. It reminded
Yeah.
me of the because back in the 4 years of Trump, every day was like a damage report. You just wake up and you didn't know what to expect. And today reminded me of the short little few small good days where I'd wake up and Trump shit was just falling through the roof, and, it's so nice. Man, I thought I was gonna wake up today all, like, calm and peaceful and, like, groggy and wait to have my coffee, and I saw that and I was like, "Oh, yep, I haven't even got my coffee yet, and I am ready to suck today's dick." How about you?
Double fisted like Trump.
That's right.
Honestly, it was great. I was hanging out with my daughter. She started eating, watching her cartoons, and I was like, "Oh, let me pull out my phone for a second." I did, and I see the first thing, and it's Bibi Netanyahu and Gallant being pretty much given arrest warrants by the International Criminal Court system, which
Yay.
it's great seeing, and it's also great seeing every member of Congress on Twitter right now acting as if this is, World War III, the end of the world. I mean,
Right.
heaven fucking forbid we hold people responsible for apartheid and genocide responsible. Heaven forbid we hold them responsible.
Mm.
I
I
mean, they've only killed what, 50, 60,000 women and children
Right,
on the plus side of 100,000 civilians total. I mean, that's it.
right. But if you
So,
if you're on probation for stealing a pack of gum and you leave town to go visit family, though, holy shit, they'll fucking arrest your ass and find you. But,
hmm
yeah,
yeah.
I know
And that's
this
the other
sucks.
thing
This
too, right?
very
Like,
virtue
uh,
signaling.
sorry, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead. I finished.
No, so and that's the other thing too, right? With this news story, is a lot of people are kind of asking the question, right? Is this symbolic? Is something actually going to be done about this?
Right.
Um, Ultimately, if Netanyahu goes to the UK or America, I highly doubt that either will extradite, either Gallant or BB. I don't see it happening. I would be very much surprised, especially considering that we seen today the State Department kind of basically like double down and be like, yeah, we're just gonna make sure that they're armed and ready for whatever happens. So that was kind of the first story, and then the second story, waking up to the Matt Gates saga is continuing. We're
Hmm.
going to be covering a little bit of that as well. And then Hegseth, another Trump cabinet nominee. Honestly, the career suicide squad. I think that's what the Trump cabinet team should be called from now on. I think that should be kind of like the label that they're given,
I
because
like
they
it.
always, like the Democrats have the pack, and then we should have now the Republicans with the career suicide squad. Vivek Ramaswamy, that fucking loser,
Uh,
Elon Musk, who
yep.
who like both in their own tandem remind me a lot of Beavis and Butthead.
Yes, I agree.
Just looks and wit.
Yes, the Ramaswamy definitely has very much a Beavis feel, and Elon
Yeah,
definitely has a Butthead feel for sure.
Butthead.
Yeah.
Oh,
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 oh.
oh, oh. Hey, Butthead, check it out. Shut up, Beavis.
I need more TV for my bunghole.
I have seen the top of the mountain, and it is good.
God, that sounds like him too.
What
Jesus.
happened on the Senate floor.
Play it, check it out. Shut up, Beavis.
God.
Independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders speaking ahead.
Shout
of
out to our boy
Wednesday's
Bernie
Senate
Sanders. I
vote
mean,
to
people are
block
still
the
hating on
sale
him.
of US tank
Understandably
rounds,
so for certain
bomb
things,
kits,
but
and other
this is a good
lethal
thing,
weapons
right?
to Israel.
I just want to say this first as we're jumping into it. This is a good thing. Bernie Sanders calling it and saying enough's enough. Like, we need to quit with this red line bullshit. Enough's enough. Put our fucking line in the sand. Let's actually do something. Shout out to Bernie Sanders. Again, people always want to be critical of him. I'm not going to tell people not to be critical of him. But all I do ask is when he does do good things, give the man some fucking credit. That's all I ask. That's
I
it.
agree. I agree. What's up,
That
Kayla? What's up, Jim?
that
Good
is
to see
it.
you guys.
Hey, Caleb. Official People Party. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. For those who have missed it, we're just doing a quick little dive into some news stories. We're going to be kind of giving some reactions to it. If anybody has questions, anything that they have as a talking point, feel free to put it in chat. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. We're going to continue the Democracy Now! Video. 19 U.S. senators back Bernie Sanders' bill to block arms sale to Israel.
The measure did fail, but 18 other senators joined Sanders to stop arming Israel.
I've heard members of the U.S. Senate come to this floor
Right,
to
Sporty?
denounce human
For
rights
real.
violations
That's what I've
taking
been
place around
saying.
the
I
world.
keep telling him.
I've heard
Keep telling him.
well-founded
Thank you,
concerns
Sporty.
about China's brutal reception of the Uyghur ethnic minority. I've heard rightful outrage about Putin's brutal attacks against Ukraine and bombing of civilian installations.
Yeah, and Bernie's bringing up these points, and first of all, like the whole Uyghur situation, it's very tricky because if you try to bring it up, people will be like, "Oh no, they weren't genocided, dude. They were just fucking, they were assimilated, and it was forced assimilation, right? Like they were basically put in labor camps and education camps, and a lot of the Uyghur population also disappeared, specifically. But it was something that China was doing, so both Democrat and Republican were able to use it because it's anti-China rhetoric. It's another reason or excuse that you can kind of manufacture consent for the public to be like, yeah, you know what? We need to go to war with China because they're committing a genocide. And Bernie Sanders is right for bringing it up in this situation, and even specifically bringing up Russia, Ukraine in this situation, because ultimately the United States as a government, regardless if it's Republican, if it's Democrat, when it comes to funding and arming different nations who are committing atrocities, whether it be war crimes, humanitarian crisis, whatever, right? We have no issue with that. We have no fucking issue. But when there's an actual crisis, i.e., Sudan, i.e., the Congo, i.e., fucking Gaza,
Mm-hmm.
it's complicated. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's 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 complicated. We'll never tell you why it's complicated because then when we start telling you why it's complicated, you'll start seeing that it's not and that it's actually really gross and inhumane what's been going on and the fact that we've continued to fucking not only be okay with it, but specifically allow the same government responsible for this to dictate American policy
Mm-hmm. No,
and
I
American
completely agree.
elections.
Yep. No, I completely agree. I mean, before Gaza became the biggest population of starving people, I would ask anybody what country was before Gaza. Anybody have a fucking answer for that? Because I know I've been screaming it for years, and it's a country that probably nobody even knows what's even going on in that country. Yemen. It's fucking had the biggest population of starving people. Like it was disgusting. And we never did anything about it because we're siding with Saudi Arabia who's doing that to them. It's like if we're siding with that country, we turn a blind eye. But if we want to start a war or want to fight with that country for whatever God knows what reason one individual or another has, we look at all the bad stuff they're doing. It just I mean, same thing like right now, we're not even looking at, the fact that, just here in America or Canada, the Indian Native American reservations are still a form of apartheid. So,
100%. And
yep.
and again, I think it's important to point out, especially because a lot of people still focus on like hypocrisy baiting, and you and I have had our conversations about it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's something that you can at least point out to people that are somewhat normal or reachable, and just be like, don't you just find it kind of funny that we can always find a reason or an excuse arm whomever it be, whether it be the Mujahideen that turned into Al Qaeda and the Taliban, um, and then ultimately arming them again in their full creation, and then it turned into ISIS, and that, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
multiple scenarios, like you're completely fine with that, but then you all of a sudden have an issue when it comes to funding or humanitarian aid or any sort of like social growth effort, whether it be giving people their land back, whether it be health, anything, education, because that's another thing that's been hit with Palestine is that hospitals continue to get bombed, universities and schools continue to get bombed. I think they had like a little over a dozen hospitals in Palestine, specifically in Gaza, and I think now there's only two or three that are semi-functioning.
Right. One that's okay
And that
functioning.
semi-functioning, that's running on generators that run out of fuel because
Mhm.
aid isn't getting in.
Yep.
Um, just get caught up with chat once again. What's going on, Kayla? Appreciate you coming in. This is Official People's Party USA.
That
40
is
Spice. Yes,
Jim.
this is our thing. This is my home. If you
Yes.
couldn't tell,
Yeah.
I like talking politics.
Yes. I mean, we've all been telling you this. I mean, I've only known you for a year and a half, and I know they've been telling you this stuff. So yeah, it's cool to have to see your friends seeing you in the place that I know that they know it's where you belong.
Yeah.
This is your
Live long and
character.
prosper. Yes.
That's
Sorry, I
fucking
just seen
right.
this Spock.
What's up, Jim? How are you, buddy?
I've heard genuine concern about Iran's outrageous crackdown on peaceful protesters. I've heard repeated condemnations of Saudi Arabia's terrible treatment of women and political dissidents, and on and on.
And also, don't you find it really fucking interesting? Because he brought this up too. Saudi Arabia's treatment of women and political dissidents. How the fuck does America treat its own women and political dissidents? Oh yeah, that's right. They take away rights. They send the police to beat the fucking shit out of them, tear gas them.
Hmm.
So, you know what I mean? Like, again, shout out. Bernie's cooking.
Yep.
Bernie is straight cooking. He
Yep.
has the riz, as kids say.
Yep.
Also, I hate
A lot
myself
of
for
folks
saying
come
that.
to the floor to talk about human rights and what's going on throughout the world. But what I want to say to all those folks, nobody is going to take anything you say with a grain of seriousness. You cannot condemn human rights around the world and then turn a blind eye to what the United States government is now funding in Israel.
Ooh, I'm
And
proud
I
of
just
him.
want to
Oh, it
use this
makes me
moment
want to
too.
cry.
Jimmy, go ahead, because I know there's something you want to say.
Dude, this makes me want to cry so fucking bad. I fucking miss this side of Bernie. I miss this Bernie so much. There's been quite a couple of years now where I've been kind of disappointed, and it's just really broken my heart, and I haven't thought about him. To see this video, it really fucking I'm so reheartened again to hear him say this kind of stuff. It makes me happy.
No, for sure. And especially on a subject that a lot of people have been attacking him on for the
Yeah,
past
year.
year and a half, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
he has been very soft spoken. He has spoken out. He has asked for a ceasefire. And he has kind of gone against the grain in terms of like the Biden administration, the interviews that he does where he's like, yeah, this is ridiculous. We need to get a ceasefire. We need to make sure that the Palestinian people are given aid.
Yeah.
All of the good things.
Yep.
Oh, Jada's stomping in. I'm gonna play the video. Keep it going.
Okay.
People will laugh in your face. They will say to you, you're concerned about China, you're concerned about Russia, you're concerned about Iran. Well, why are you funding the starvation of children?
So crazy. I said that
Gaza
right
right
before, just before.
So that's Senator Bernie Sanders. While this move did fail, it was the
You cannot condemn human rights around the world and then turn a blind eye to what the United States government is now funding in Israel. People will laugh in your face. They will say to you,
So that's another thing that I was gonna bring up really quick too, is that a lot of times whenever people specifically on the left, when they're speaking out about Palestine, a lot of normies and a lot of people who consider themselves to be liberals, when they hear you make the criticisms and the demands in name of Palestine, what they think you're saying is we need to start sending military aid packages to Palestine instead. We need to start sending troops over there and, and fighting for Palestine instead. And that's not the argument that anybody that I've seen personally make. The only argument that I've ever seen from any leftist in terms of Palestine is, can we please just stop giving money and weapons to this fucking country? Can we please stop doing that?
Right.
That is literally the basis of the demands that is made by almost any leftist I've come across. I've not seen one leftist like, yeah, we need to use the United States military and defense contractors for Palestine instead of Israel. I've not fucking seen one person say that. And if anybody has proof on that, please show it to me, because I'd love to see it. But I just wanted to go back because I wanted to make that point before my daughter came in and wanted to come talk politics too.
Ooh.
She's not down with the bourgeoisie.
That's right.
We support the proletariat in this house, you know what I mean?
That's right.
In Gaza right now.
And for Bubba, watching the proletariat means workers.
So that's Senator
Power
Bernie
to the plebs.
Sanders. While this move did fail, it was the largest grouping of senators to vote against
Joe Biden's a
arming
huge friend.
Israel. Akbar
Right.
Shahed Ahmed.
Joe Biden's a friend of the
If you
people.
can talk about the significance of
Gee.
this and the latest piece you did on what happened in the White House and
Okay, as this
how
guy's
they were
talking, because
threatening these senators.
I was more interested in Bernie's words as this guy's talking, though. But like, that's another thing too, right? That, a criticism about Bernie that is completely valid, and it's another criticism you get for AOC or just a lot of the progressive caucus in general, right? Like, when there was the situation of Biden stepping down, and even before Biden stepping down, post debate, progressives, instead of using the moment of a very visibly weak Democratic Party and using that as a means of trying to take over, they tried to work with it. Because they were afraid that if they tried taking over, failed, it would end up looking worse, and then they would totally get kicked out and blackballed. And they didn't want that. And it's really frustrating, though, because if you've been somebody who has been politically active, and what I mean by that is whether you've done some form of activism, if you worked on a campaign, or even just follow politics in general, it's an issue that you're well aware of, and it's something that you understand how to what's the word I'm looking for? Perpetuate. Obviously, like the plight of, the average person. Sorry to drift off there for a second. I got distracted with the message. But ultimately, with Palestine, I think the other thing too that we often hear from like a normie perspective is the idea of Hamas, right? Like, ultimately, anytime somebody wants to bring up Hamas, it goes, oh, well, they're a terrorist organization. We shouldn't be supporting that. We shouldn't be funding that. Where ultimately, I don't really hold much weight in the terror designation. I'm not sure about you, Jimmy. I can't speak for you. Jimmy, hello?
Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I was waiting for you to finish your sentence.
No. I was just asking. But I personally don't hold much weight in terror designations that are made by the West, especially considering what the International Court has said specifically about groups like Hezbollah, like Hamas, and even I somewhat disagree in terms with Hezbollah, just based off of some of the things that they have done and some of the acts that they have committed. But even with that, the International Court says they are a resistance group, right? They are not a terrorist group. They are a resistance group. They are being occupied. And that is the people's response to occupation. And whether you want to agree with the International Court or not, those are the laws and those are the rules that we are operating on and that we need to abide by. If you think that they should be changed, then that's something that you should advocate for. That's something that you should get your politicians that you elect to advocate for. But until then, use the fucking system we got. And also eliminate loopholes.
And rhetoric that observers see is reminiscent of the Bush administration, right? You're with us or you're against us. And that's the kind of thinking with which the Biden administration continues to approach critics of their policy, despite the really clear consequences of their policy and the fact that they're on their way out, right? They are not the future of the Democratic Party. It is now not just on Senator Sanders, but really on those who remain in the Senate, on...
And I'm glad this dude actually brought up a good point too, because that's something that is not really talked about. What Biden has been doing this past month specifically is basically a big fucking middle finger to Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the Democratic Party, and the Democratic voters. Because basically, and this is my interpretation, maybe you guys have it different, but my interpretation is Biden's pissed that he was forced to step down. Biden truly felt that he could do it. He probably still believes it, but he was forced to sit down. And he fucking resents him for that. And they specifically picked the person that he didn't want to be his successor. Because if Joe Biden really wanted Kamala to be his successor, he wouldn't have put her in positions politically that didn't do anything to bolster her name. Because when Kamala was introduced, I remember the first week, people were like, who the fuck is she? We don't even know who the fuck she is. But when Obama, his first term, everybody knew who the fuck Joe Biden was. Why was that? Because Obama put him in the forefront.
Right.
Joe Biden was told, listen, because Joe Biden was going to run against Obama. People forget that too.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden tried running against Obama. Didn't work. Obama saw the numbers that Biden was getting in certain neighborhoods, suburbs, typical white voters, sometimes Republican, and he said, I need to get that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he put Joe Biden on his ticket. And that's when he started putting Joe Biden onto specific policies and being the head of certain things because Joe Biden was told, listen, I know you felt that you were supposed to be president. Obama kind of jumped the gun. Even a lot of Democrats within the establishment at first were like, Obama's too young. He hasn't even finished like his first go at senator. Like, he's too young. He hasn't fucking earned it. And Joe Biden felt that way. Joe Biden was like, yo, you haven't earned it, dude. Like, I've been eating shit for the Democratic Party for years. For years. It's my turn. Then Obama came in. It was his turn. And Obama said, dude, it's your turn next. You got this, Joe. And then what happened? Joe Biden gets ready to fucking go in 2016. No. Democratic Party tells Joe Biden, you have to wait again. It's Hillary's turn. Yeah. She's been waiting. It's time we do this. So he had to fucking wait again. So he definitely has resentment. I think if you look at it from just a humanistic level, anybody who gets treated like that, I'm pretty sure you would kind of lose it too. And kind of have like, okay, well, fuck you. And that's exactly what he's doing. But he's not only doing that to the Democrats, because what he did with Ukraine, sending that like $275 million military package, what he did was he said, fuck you to Trump, because Trump has been talking about, when I get into office, I'm going to end the wars. First 100 days, we're going to end all the wars. No more war. And Biden's like, okay, well, guess what? You're going to get to inherit some bullshit. Good luck. I'm going to intensify things and get things on the brink of World War III just for the fuck of it.
Yep.
Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but guess what? I'm leaving. Not my problem anymore. Yep. I'm going to go have some ice cream and fall on the beach.
Yep.
Get lost out in the fucking Amazon rainforest.
Democrats kind of up and down the country to craft a different legacy, given that there is popular dissatisfaction. And what I heard in terms of the White House...
Biden lost all his power after that debate. They knew he was going to fail, so they let him fail, jump on an advantage with their own party. 100%. Because Biden wasn't wanting to step down, so they said, oh, you don't want to step down? Continue to look fucking crazy.
While they're calling us kind of terrorists.
And then you won't have a choice, and that's what happened. I've been eating so much shiz, so Byron's brains.
Hardline pro-Israel forces, chief among them AIPAC, which is...
Dude, fucking RFK sitting behind Joe Biden right now. Well, you can't eat vanilla flavoring. It's not natural.
we're going to come
Jesus
after you.
Christ.
If you don't
Israel
get
is not going to
vaccinated,
this
you will
border.
be able to
So
eat
you see the
whatever
Biden
you
administration
want.
working hand
And
in
then
glove
what we can do is we can
with
find a
forces that are
dolphin
not just
and
arming
chop it up
pro-Israel
on the
militant,
beach and
but
put it on
against
the roof of
Democrats
my
voting against
car.
Biden
And we'll
and
use
Michael
the
Bloomberg.
blubber
That's
as
what the U.S.
protein
has
powder
been
for
doing.
our
Oh God.
shakes
The
before
fact
we
that
lift
after
weights.
all
It'll
that,
be
we
great.
still had close to a fifth of
Was
members
that good?
of the U.S.
That
Senate
was fucking
stand up
awesome.
and vote against
Nailed it!
weapons for Israel at a time of war,
RFK
at a
2025.
time when AIPAC and pro-Israel forces have indicated their political strength yet again. That's huge. This is historic and symbolic. And while I think anti-war advocates were to a degree disappointed, they had wanted to get at least half of Senate Democrats, the amount of intense pressure that you saw from the Biden administration to try to suppress this vote, including up to sending Secretary of State Tony Blinken to Capitol Hill yesterday, that shows you they were up against a lot, and they still managed to get 19 senators, which was quite a momentous showing.
And that was good. I'm glad that we got to hear that last little part because you do hear the number 19 and you're like, well shit, dude. Maybe people just don't support that. And that would be a fair assessment to make, but then you understand that like a lot of times votes don't get made. Like when you're a politician, the votes you make on bills aren't often made. In that regard, it's more like I need to do what the party's telling me to do, otherwise I'm out. And I think a lot of people were told, hey, you barely won. You might have won your election only by 5-6 points. We're going to get somebody who's going to perform fucking better than you. So either you play ball and shut the fuck up, or, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
See what happens. But this is going to be the Fox News Channel analysis of what we just seen, the Bernie Sanders saga. Because everybody knows, if you want fair and balanced, if you want freedom, like driving in a Ford F-150, you got to watch Fox News. It's the only place that you can get the truth. It's literally changed my life. Ever since I started watching Fox News, I can just blame everybody else for what's wrong in my life.
A vote to stop sending
really
weapons
cool.
to Israel overwhelmingly failing in the Senate, but that did not stop 19 Senate Democrats, led by Bernie Sanders.
Is it true that RFK Jr. dated an East German spy in the 80s, but also sketch? I wouldn't doubt it. I know that they sent a lot of honeypots at him because, like, dude was known for cheating on his wife. And in fact, I hate even bringing this up because, like, ultimately it doesn't mean anything politically, but, like, he cheated on his wife so much that she ended up committing suicide. He's like, I can't help it. I didn't get the measles vaccine, and because of that, I just want to fuck anybody that crosses my path. My dick is just hard all the time because I don't drink water from the tap. My pineal gland isn't caked in fluoride.
But it's clear that
Jesus.
Israel does not have the support of the United States in all corners of the country, given that 19 senators just voted to block U.S. arms sales to Israel, which is our greatest ally in the
Yes,
Middle
our
East. And
greatest
Bernie
ally,
Sanders
dude. They're
led
so
this effort,
great.
And he said that
They're so
the reason to
great
do
because
this, one of the reasons is because.
And listen, I'm saying this not in the sense of like for what people will try to say I am. I'm saying in the sense because ultimately people are seeing what is happening in Gaza to Palestinians by Israel, aided by the United States. And they're saying, holy shit, that's disgraceful. Like, why are we letting this happen? And the unfortunate thing is, the more Israel and Zionists try to conflate those positions, identities with Judaism, the more danger that's actually put upon the people that they're supposedly trying to protect.
Right.
Which is my point. Because ever since more and more reports have been coming out, especially like on Twitter and shit, I saw a video the other day, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but it was like this Asian guy that was talking about how Jewish people run the media, they run the fucking government, and they do this and they do that, and what Hitler did was a response to like all the communistic stuff that they were responsible for. And it had like 59,000 likes on it.
Uh-oh.
And I'm just like, how the fuck is it, like, you know what I mean? Like, how can people hear this shit and not be like, yeah, that guy is saying some Nazi shit. That's kind of gross.
Right.
But instead, people hear that shit and they're like, well, I mean, you know, Israel's doing some shit and they're kind of getting away with it. Nobody's doing anything. And if you start criticizing them, you get banned from Twitch or your Twitter gets deleted or whatever the case. So, like, it's just, it sucks. It really fucking sucks. You know, I have a couple Jewish friends that I've asked about this, and I told them even before, like, I understand it's, you know, a hot topic, so if you don't want to talk about it, but like, a lot of them are just mainly talking about the fear of just a lot of the normalization of anti-Semitism that they have been seeing. And surprise, they tell me they don't hear it from people that have the same political ideology as me. You know where they hear it from? All the fucking 4chan losers.
Mm-hmm.
All of the
Getting
MAGA
bigger.
guys. That's
Yeah.
who they fucking hear it from.
Yeah. So did this bill pass or no, it got blocked?
It got blocked.
Now, was
They
this
needed more than
by
19.
religious
was this
zealots.
coming
What is your
from
reaction
president or
to
coming
Bernie
from the
Sanders
House?
in this effort yesterday?
This was something that was coming from the president.
Okay. So it's okay, so it stopped at Senate. All right.
It was something that Biden was trying to do, yeah.
Before he
And
left.
Biden basically tried whipping everybody together and said, if you don't fucking play ball and get this shit to pass through, there's going to be some problems.
And it didn't.
Correct. They didn't get enough, but like the last interview was saying, when you're able to get almost 20 votes in a very like oppressed, very hostile fucking thing like that, that's a good sign because it's important. Symbolic wins sometimes are important.
Right.
Sometimes symbolism is good. And
Right, like the
when you're
4th
able to do that just off of a scramble, right? Like this was something that they had to do without really like a lot of time to get things together. So hopefully it's momentum that grows. But
Yeah. I mean, at least they blocked it. So now it's going to go back to Biden, and is he going
well,
to
it's gonna go
rewrite it?
through. Like it's still gonna go through. Like at the end of the day, when it comes to any sort of aid package to Israel, whether it be for defense contractors or whatever, like it's going. There is no stopping it unless you actually get a legit movement. Getting 19 other Democrats isn't going to do it. And again, it was more of a like symbolic victory and a symbolic gesture because at least with that, you're able to show other Democrats who were pressured, who maybe, want to speak out like, hey, there's a decent amount of us who are willing to like stick together. Maybe a couple more might get over to your cause and maybe they might be able to get a couple more people. Like that's the whole point of political movements.
Right, right.
This is outrageous that these 19 senators don't understand what an ally means and why we need Israel as a strong
Yeah, dude.
ally.
Israel is such a great ally. They're such a good ally, dude.
And
Right.
overwhelming understandings.
Yo, Israel's such a good ally that the fucking International Criminal Court is like, hey, the leaders of Israel, if we see you, you're arrested for crimes against humanity.
And we're not asking to give things to Israel, but to sell them the things that they need to protect themselves against the annihilation that is intended toward them.
Sanders sponsored the effort to block the bill. Only 19 voted to block it. Yeah, that's what we're literally talking about.
And I don't know why these
The goal for Sanders was to block the weapons, which they failed to do. So now it passed, and the genociders get more weapons. The goal for Sanders, obviously, he wanted to block it. Nobody's going to come out and be like, yeah, I'm going to try to get this through. I don't think it's going to work. So, like, no, of course he's going to be like, yeah, the goal is to get this through. That is the goal. But truthfully, the goal is, and this is something that's done in politics a lot of time. Maybe if you would have like minored in political science or something, you could have understood that. But like a lot of times it's gestures and coalition building. So that's what you do. you show strength in numbers.
Against him. But that was a breakthrough.
Because with how much AIPAC has power and influence over government, when you're still able to get 19 at the last minute,
That word head scratcher always.
it's actually not too bad.
This decision that you guys were just talking
So-
about to vote against sending arms to Israel, head scratcher. And then there's this, the U.S. vetoing a draft resolution on the Gaza ceasefire during the UN Security Council vote because we wanted to make sure that a ceasefire included the hostages. Governor Huckabee, how
So
could
we
it
vetoed
not
a
include the
ceasefire?
hostages? I mean, they've done nothing wrong. They were kidnapped. They've been in captivity for over a year. Why not include them?
Why not include them? Last I checked, there were numerous ceasefires where they're like, "Yeah, we're down to give up the hostages." Who vetoed that?
Israel in America.
And like 7 other fucking nations that nobody could even point to on a map.
Right.
Yeah, for
Like basically countries are like, "Yeah, we're gonna do whatever you tell us to do. Please don't fucking throw any more sanctions on us. Please, please, please."
Todd, the
Right.
hostages have been held, and it's really pathetic that at least 7 of those hostages are U.S. citizens. We don't hear anything about that. And I really do appreciate the fact that the Biden administration in the UN did stop that from happening.
It's all a moot point because Republicans will have control of the House and Senate. It's not a moot point because right now you have Democrats who are just aligning with Republicans, and when you can actually show people that not all Democrats think that we should just continue to arm Israel, it actually does something. People start paying more attention. They start saying, "Whoa, hey, maybe there's new momentum happening within a weak Democratic Party that doesn't really quite know what to do with itself." Again, politics is a lot different than communications.
This
Mike Huckabee
ridiculous
looking extra
resolution.
old.
It was absurd.
Yo, Mike
and
Huckabee's
insulting.
yo.
But to say
This
that
is what years of hatred and just being a disgusting piece of shit will do to you.
Right.
have some type of ceasefire without getting
Aging
Wonder what-
like
hostages
milk.
back
Right. I
is
wonder
an
what camera
insult
he's
to
looking
anyone's
at.
intelligence. And I'm
Dude,
glad
it's
the
all
US,
theater.
decided
Yeah, that's
to
what
strike that one
politics
right in the
is.
ground.
That's why I
Your
was talking
reaction
about
to
the
this, New York
symbolism
Times columnist.
to the action of what Bernie did.
Mm-hmm.
Because unlike a lot of people, even such as myself or even such as you, who think that activism is going on fucking YouTube or Twitch and talking shit is the same as like actually going out there and getting shit done. Because one person has actually done that in their career, Bernie Sanders. And guess who hasn't? Either of us. Because if you had, you'd be doing more than just a fucking YouTube show. I'd be doing more than just Twitch. Nobody cares about symbolism. They just want results. Yeah, that's why people turn to Donald Trump running off economic populism when he literally also simultaneously brags about cutting fucking social safety nets and eliminating redundancies. But yeah,
Well,
symbolism doesn't matter.
It's creating symbolism uh that helps to bring the results that you want,
Thomas
Black
Friedman, who
Lives
is a
Matter
Biden
and shit
backer.
like that. Like, those, there's people that, if it didn't die out the way it died out, we could have had something going and, change could have ultimately happened and it started with a Black Lives Matter symbolism. So sometimes, it takes symbolism to change, even if the symbolism is a person like Frank or Fred Hampton, symbolism. It's still a person, it's still symbolism, but it definitely wanted to bring out change and solutions. So sometimes it's needed to get people to listen, right?
Yeah. Both sides of the aisle are bought and paid for by the same people. No argument. Again, I think maybe if you would spend a little more time like just listening and not trying to be condescending, you would hear that my argument isn't necessarily against maybe some of the political ideology you have. It's just a difference in what's effective and what works.
Nobody on the
Like,
left believes Bernie anymore. He's screwed up. But like that's your little scope of left. That's like your little bubble that you're in because there's a lot of people that I know, including myself, that aren't tired of him. Like your bubble isn't everything.
and it's not even, about believing in Bernie. It's just about when he's right about things, just admit it. Don't be a little sourpuss. But like, my question to you is, since you seem to know everything, like, what's your solution? What should have Bernie done? Because you seem to know the answer.
He recently said Donald Trump has a chance to be a historic president with a major Middle East deal. He writes, quote, Trump was the rare American president who actually put out a detailed plan for coexistence between
Get out on the
Israelis
streets.
and
Okay, and then
Palestinians.
what?
If that Trump revives that initiative.
And then what? Get out on the streets and do what? Shut it down. How? How are you going to shut it down? Shut what down? Shut down everything? Or just some things? Like, you have to be specific. You can't just, be symbolic. You can't be like the people that you're judging and just be super fucking vague because you're not really standing on anything. You're just trying to, be argumentative. Dude, you just like to hear your own voice? That's why I'm asking you questions and asking you to define things. You like hearing your own voice. Because you love asserting your opinion, but then when I ask you to get specific, you act all bitchy about it. Revolution's the only solution. Okay, what does a revolution in America look like in the current landscape? Because a lot of people don't know how to maintain, use firearms. Most people don't know how to grow their own food. Most people don't know how to use, solar electricity, hook it up, generators. People don't know how to filter water, live off the land. No, I'm asking you the questions, dude. You're the one who's getting all fucking bitchy and defensive. You came in here all assertive. You know everything. You tell me. You'd be surprised what people can do. Yeah, people are full of surprises, that is for sure. But you're still not answering any of my questions. Which just shows me that you're full of shit. It sounds like I know more than you. That's why you can't get specific on any of the questions I asked you, because you don't know. Because maybe you know that your whole idea of like, yo, revolution, man, take to the streets. Yeah, if you just have people going to the streets and not knowing what they're fucking going to the streets for, nothing gets accomplished. We've seen that happen before. What, should we take over Area 51 and shit, dude? You have to communicate with people first the way that you do, in a very smug, condescending way. Matter of fact, the same way that Democrats speak to fucking, quote, Bubba. Like, I don't understand why you're being such a little bitch. I really don't. If you want a hug, I'll give you one. But, if you want to come in here and chill, you can chill. It's still a little weird because my co-host has blocked you and told you they don't want you around, but you still come around. So, like, you can either come in, chill, be productive instead of trying to just be an argumentative little cunt, and we can, just do this thing. But you're kind of being a dick, and you're sidetracking the show.
Yeah.
Because you're not answering any of the questions I asked you. Right. You're just jumping to different things and being like, well, I know more than you, and I'm better than you, and I'm this, and I'm that. I have a communication degree. I know how to talk to people, but I'm also a smug prick. Like, dude, you're making yourself look stupid. And if I'm stupid, which you said I am, what's that make you? Because you're trying to argue with a stupid person. So just shut the fuck up. Maybe you can do that.
In 2025, he could be remembered as the president who preserved Israel as a Jewish democracy and helped to securely birth a Palestinian state.
Sucking politicians' dick doesn't work either, moron. But doing dumb shows on Twitch will surely help. And I just said, if you would be listening instead of trying to be a prick, I even said, we're not doing anything to change anything by being on here. I said that. You can rewind it if you want to. If you know how to, you old fuck. Maybe you don't. YouTube is your thing. Talking about aliens, your thing. Political analysis, not so much your thing. So maybe shut the fuck up and listen to somebody who actually knows a little bit about politics. A little bit more than you. And I know it's threatening because I'm younger than you. And I know a little bit more. But it's okay. Knowledge is an everlasting thing, my friend. Yeah, this is totally for clicks, bro.
I think anybody that knows Donald
Fucking
Trump understands that there's very few people on earth that can put a deal together any better than he can. So I'm convinced that if there's any hope for resolving what has been a long-standing conflict, Donald Trump's going to find a way to do it.
You sound
Let's go
angry,
back
bro.
to
You
the
need a
Abraham
hug.
Accords.
Oh,
No
yeah.
one thought that was
Big hug.
possible. But it not
Mwah.
only was possible, it was done.
I
And
don't
if
do
he'd still been in
politics
office, I
because
think
they
we
are
would have seen it
worthless. Then why are
expand
you
even
even
more.
saying
Then why are you
anything?
even,
Governor
dude?
Huckabee.
If you don't do politics and if it's worthless, then why are you in here talking about it? Then shut the fuck
Right.
up. This
Then
isn't
just
for you.
listen.
I'm calm. Why are you going nuts? No, you're being a smug little prick. That's what you're being. Nobody's
I'm
mad.
trying to educate. Okay, Warren, I'm all right. All right, you're getting tired out.
Educate me. Okay, so answer my questions. How are we going to do a revolution in America right now? How are we going to do that? Answer that question, smart guy. He's a professor, dude. I know. Yo, Professor Extra Bullet in the house, dude. He's going to talk to you about aliens because that shit is not worthless, but politics, worthless. Shit that actually affects your life, worthless.
Right.
Fucking
Professor
Professor X, dude.
EX.
Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the nomination.
I'm Steve Doocy.
While you type your
Brian Kilmeade.
manifesto about American Revolution, we'll go to the next video. So, one thing that we always hear Trump talk about on the campaign trail, hey, you know what? Overtime, we're not going to tax it. Tips, we're not going to tax it. Well, for some people, specifically in Texas, it's not going so well. Trump appointed judge just struck down a Biden rule expanding overtime pay to 4 million working people. I kind of wonder why they do that, especially with a president coming in who just made promises about overtime. That's weird. And they did it under the Biden administration. So then that way, when Trump comes into office, he's like, Bill Biden did it. My hands are tied. It was a state rule. I can't go against states' rights.
Wow.
But so that's fun.
Yeah.
And here we have Tom Homan, that fucking piece of garbage, talking about deportations. Let's see what this fucking piece of shit has to say.
I'll tell you this, they don't have to help us, but they need to get the hell out of the way because we're coming, we're going to do it. Which means if I got to send twice as many resources that sanctuary city, twice as many agents, that's exactly.
You were caustic as fuck. I knew I'd get a rise out of a dumbass like you. Oh, dude, yeah. You're Master Gambit, sir.
I was going to
Master
recommend the 100th
Gambit.
episode of the Secret Show, but I guess I don't want to. He's not even my boyfriend. The fact that, like, the fact that I've blocked you on everything, and then you keep finding me, and then I keep blocking you on those same things, like, I've told you that I've blocked you, like, it's past the point of even hinting, like, I've just straight up told you that I blocked you on shit, and so now he was just defending me, talking about how I blocked you on it, and you're still up in my shit. I don't know what else to tell you, Warren, except for to just leave me alone. Like,
Dude, I totally got you, bro. The person who blocked me and told me they don't want to talk to me anymore, I've been stalking them, and then I went into the stream that they're of the person they're streaming with to fucking harass them, and then I fucking got a response out of them. And dude, I got you, bro. That's how crazy you sound. Get help. Seriously, please. This isn't even like fun anymore. I was actually having fun. Get help.
right.
If this is your thinking process, if this is how you act at like 50 some years old, get help. Go to a therapist. Do what you need to do, but please, for the love of God, get help. You need it. You are fucking losing it. And matter of fact, I'm done with you. Just go outside. Before I ban you, just go outside, touch some grass, start talking to people, live your life. Don't be a fucking weirdo. Don't be a fucking weirdo. Bye. Have fun continuing to watch guy who's smarter than me. Fucking loser. The
Look, we're
fuck?
prepared to take action, but I hope they come to the
I
table
banned him.
and realize we are prioritizing the worst of the worst first. Help us do that. Help yourself make your community safer. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, they don't have to help us, but they need to get the hell out of the way because we're
Hi,
coming. We're
Shock.
going to do
Yeah,
it.
it
Which
was
means if I
my
got to
old
send twice as
co-host.
many resources to that sanctuary city, twice as many agents, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So here he's basically saying, like, if you're a sanctuary city, if you try to get in the way of deportations, we're going to use the fucking federal government and the military to fuck you up. We are going to punish you financially. We are going to use the military. Like, so yeah, that's fun. You know, normal.
Yeah. Well,
Completely fucking normal.
don't
But
apologize, T. I swear to God, like this is why I'm so grateful to have people like, like Danny and Hirsch and shit like that in my life now because that's the kind of stuff that I had around me and it's almost defeating trying to fight against that every day, especially as a woman and them saying they're progressive and then you get hit with that stuff and then they make jokes about belittling women and women are second class. So it's just I just have to say I'm thankful for all of you guys. I just have to say that. Like before I cry, I'm thankful. I appreciate all of you because I swear to God,
fucking
I'm so fucking sick of stalkers. I'm just done. Welcome to America and being a woman, you guys. I'm serious. I'm almost 40 years old and I still deal with this shit. And I'm done. I'm just done.
yeah. I hope he gets help though. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Anyways, Pete Hegseth, another
Yes.
great Trump pick, is in the middle of
Speaking
some
of
controversy.
yeah, speaking of
Yeah,
douchebags.
speaking of weirdos and stalkers and people who, if they're following you to your car, you might want to get, your taser or pepper spray.
Yeah. For real.
And we welcome the opportunity to talk to any senator that wants to talk to us.
Did you sexually assault a woman in Monterey, California?
I have, as far as the media is concerned, it's very simple.
As far as the media is concerned, it's very simple.
It's completely cleared, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you.
Everything's been completely cleared, and that's fine with me. Or that's all you get from me.
Jeez.
Innocent. What hairstyle is that? I like to perform SA. That's the hairstyle. And here's a little
Right.
Monterey Police Department.
Yo, he looks like Jesse James from the West Coast Choppers. That dude, he's like the douchey dude that like cheated on fucking Sandra Bullock a bunch of times.
Oh yeah, I forgot
That
about that.
yeah, that's what he looks like. The slick back
Um,
hairdo for Jaguar owners. Oh, I thought you said for like cougar women. That too, though.
so here's the offense:
You fuck that dude?
rape of a victim unconscious of the nature of the act. So the victim was unconscious at the time. So whether that was like date rape or whatever, either way, fucked up. But this is
Yeah.
only the best.
Right.
Apparently they have video evidence too, so I think Trump is going to have another person step down. I think that's eventually going to happen. But again, just keep in mind that ultimately this is coming from the political party that for the past 10 years specifically have told us, trans people are, going to rape you, they're going to molest your children, they're going to do XYZ. And it ends up turning to be that it's actually just them projecting and ultimately kind of self-exposing themselves. Because really, I think anytime that a person spends the majority of their political thought on genitalia, specifically of minors, it's kind of a self-report. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of a self-report.
Yep.
But yeah,
Sure,
headlines from the past 24 hours. Linda McMahon, Trump's education pick, sued for allegedly enabling sexual abuse of children.
Wow.
Police reports reveal new detailed sexual assault allegation against Trump's defense secretary nominee. That's who we were just talking about. Admitted investigation of drug use and one of Trump's top picks. That's Matt Gaetz, who's also mentioned in this part. House has numerous photos from women who say they were paid a total of more than $10,000 by Gaetz for sex. That man was out there fucking, okay? Spending 10 grand on sex. That man was fucking. Something I suggest for a lot of people. If you have to see a sex worker to do it, I won't judge you. But I think A lot more people would be a lot more rational if they just got the baby batter out the brain once in a while in a natural way. Anyways, here's Matt Gaetz paying for young girls for being awesome, and just because these are transactions that have been leaked from his PayPal and Venmo. The amounts range. I think the lowest is $100, and the highest was 700. Yeah, 772. The total from this transaction, specifically from this account, because I guess Matt Gaetz also used um, that one boy that he had adopted's account to transfer money to, like his little
What?
lover boy, like adoption. Yeah, because that was another thing that came out about the investigation. So that's fun. Um, so I think that's why they said the total was 10,000, and you only see 6,000 here, but 250,000 just for being my friend, just friendsies.
Ugh.
Being awesome here, kind of weird.
Yeah,
Reimbursement. I still want to know what the fuck this emote is.
I
If anybody
know.
in chat can find out, if
Okay,
there's any communication majors out there
so
that could tell me.
yeah, so in my head, what I see right there is the emoji where it's a face and it's blowing out smoke out of the nose.
Okay, I could see that, but it looks like underwear.
That
It looks
too.
like a face sniffing underwear.
That too.
That's what it looks like to me.
It could be $300 for drugs.
You know what I mean? And then present just because, total look, man, that's
Yeah.
some simp ass behavior.
Yeah. As I
Big
said,
GLO in that GLE.
ugh,
Dude, that shit stays in my head, dude. It's a little brain tickle. What's
for
up?
real.
What up, Tyler?
For real. I
We're just,
pinned the thing.
we're just talking about the Save the Children party that love trafficking and having sexual relations with children.
Yes. So
Because
like I
that's the
said
fucking
earlier,
timeline we're in.
as I was saying earlier too, and I wanted to repeat it now before I forgot. As somebody who has
Yes.
worked in the sex industry, knows a ton of people in the sex industry, when you are given tips, those are the words that they like to use. Just because, just for being you, thanks for being awesome, and they're extra little tips to the escort services or whatever, sex work is out there. This is the language that they use to give tips to, give extra money to. So I'm just letting you guys know that is 100% the verbiage that they use.
Mm-hmm. I think both parties have their pedophiles at sick. No, 100%. But I'm also bringing this up for the instance that a lot of these people that are getting ousted, whether it be Matt Gaetz, whether it be Pete Hegseth, whether it be the McMahon family, these are all people who constantly either say themselves or repeat or repost rhetoric that is suggesting that anybody that's part of the LGBTQ community is a pedophile, rapist, and etc. And I'm more so just pointing this out that like anytime that you see people obsess over shit like this, it's one thing to, have a conversation and someone be like, "Man, did you see that story? Like that's fucked up that that shit happens, right?" But when you hang out with somebody and every time you hang out with them, all they can talk about is trans people and fucking pedophilia, that person's like just like what you guys had to see recently. That person's not okay and they need help. Like,
Yep.
and that's not even like joking around, trying to be funny, trying to do whatever. Like, if you were that obsessed with trans identity or pedophilia, like there is something wrong with you. There is literally something wrong with you. It should not be a fucking obsession at that level
Mm-hmm.
at all. It's just not normal.
Yeah. As a normal person, I do not think about that shit that much at all.
That's what I'm saying. The only time I think about it is like when a story pops up, and then it's like, damn, you realize that shit happens a lot, and it's depressing.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, well. So here's Matt Gaetz after all the stuff that's been coming out, and keep in mind, Republicans specifically have been blocking the House Ethics Committee from releasing the report. Now there are Democrats that are part of the House Ethics Committee, so it's not all Republicans. I'm not painting it in that lens. Obviously, both Democrat and Republican at the end of the day have the same benefactors. They're going to answer to the same people. But the ones who are the most outspoken right now about defending him, supposedly being AG before he withdrew, were the same people shouting out the loudest, "Save the children, we need to protect the kids." And I just want to point that out, not as even just like a hypocrisy thing, but just as a moment for people that are in the chat to just go, oh shit, you know what? Like maybe there is a reason why some of these people always talk about this shit. Maybe they're just kind of self-exposing, and maybe I should be more hesitant of them instead of just believing that it's, you know, gay or trans people that are doing it, or people that do drag.
Right.
Anybody in seats of power have an underage person fetish and the world is sick. Yeah, and that's like people in power having a thing for young virgins. That's something that's, you know, feudalistic era type shit for whatever reason. So yeah, if you've ever had a friend, because I think everybody knows at least one dude that they had to stop talking to because he was super weird. Um, we all know that one guy that just like for whatever reason likes women that are younger than them, like
Fucking dead right
way
now.
younger.
What he said.
And it's just creepy. It's just really fucking weird. I'm sorry, man. It's weird.
Yep.
It's weird. And the first response that you'll ever get from those people, instead of being like, no, man, it's, you know, I really care. It's this or that. It's again self-exposing. They're like, age of consent, dude. They're this old. It doesn't matter. It's like, okay, whatever, bro.
Yep.
Like you're just fucking weird.
hmm Like you're 6 months away from being 30. That's all right. That's good. Like
Yeah.
what do you have to tell yourself in your head to be okay with that? Because that's sick. That's sick.
It's fucking gross. But here's Matt Gates' statement. I had an excellent meetings yesterday with the Senate. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback, the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it is clear my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical Trump-Vance transition. There is no time to waste needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one. I remain fully committed that Donald J. Trump, the most successful president in history. I will forever be honored that President Trump nominated me to lead the Department of Justice, and I'm certain he will save America. Yeah, whatever. So with him leaving, this is going to be the new Attorney General picked by Trump. Breaking news, everybody! The new Attorney General has been picked. It's about to be bad boy season.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it
he's
is
definitely
bad
going to
boy
go
for
through the
life.
Yeah, he's definitely going to make it through the committee hearing for sure. The confirmation
He
hearing.
is.
Yeah.
Hey, Republicans and Democrats love them some Diddy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Diddy.
I mean, I'm surprised that he wasn't on Kamala's stage during the campaign.
Oh shit. Skirt. Okay. I think this next video that we're gonna watch, Jimmy was wanting to check this out, and I wanted to check it out because the Trump Bible. There was recently, I think it was in Oklahoma, the superintendent ordered a shit ton of Trump Bibles, and his guise for it was that it had the Constitution and stuff in there. So it was like a textbook, was his argument.
hmm
So
And
I want
I
to
like it
see.
because of all the RFK news that's coming out right now. People are going around saying that there's going to be like Pepsi lobbyists going on to the Joe Rogan podcast to get bills passed for like Pepsi to be everywhere. It's pretty much like,
Yeah.
Gatorade and Idiocracy used it for water and shit. Like we're going to have that shit happen because, lobbyists and shit are going to have like free reign to pretty much pay politicians as much as they want to get whatever they want. And they're going to have full reign with all this media to
Man.
add themselves up. Yeah.
You know what's gonna be wild? You know what's gonna be wild? The fucking they're gonna have people walking around with like face tattoos and shit of QR code scans
Mhm.
and like advertisements and shit. That's the future. Just think
That's so
about that for a
fucking
minute.
funny. It's so funny you say that because I literally have a QR code tattooed on me.
See, that's what I'm saying. See, like you're already fucking us. You're already throwing us in there.
Yep.
I
It says
guarantee you those
made in the
transphobic
USA
fuck
underneath it
jerks.
too.
Yeah, no, and you know what, Kayla? You're 100% right. Alex Jones. Alex Jones is the greatest example. That's the dude that's always talking about fucking trans stuff, and then it ended up coming out that like a lot of his porn searches involve trans. Like, dude's a big chaser. Dude is a big chaser.
Mhm.
And then like I can't remember when it was, but Caitlyn Jenner had come out talking about like a lot of Republicans that were wanting to fuck her when she transitioned.
Mhm.
The Matt Gates thing is scary because he does not have a law background. He
Rondo, it's Cowboy
completely
Plants Crave.
unqualified. He's
Electrolyte.
just there as a stooge. And the only thing that's even more terrifying is RFK being at the head
RFK, we just gotta make sure
No.
nobody gets vaccinated.
really upset when I
No.
posted this video.
Let them die.
I can't handle his voice.
She doesn't play with sticks anymore. She doesn't bark. She doesn't play fetch at all. The vaccines gave my dog autism. So look at her. She doesn't bark.
My dog's fine, by the way. I know you're.
Dude, I was just about to say, yo, you better be careful having an animal around RFK because that man will fucking eat it, dude. He will straight up eat it. That's how we got brainworms before. Is eating roadkill and shit.
Right.
Alex Jones is not a frog nor bisexual. He is a chaser. Maybe he's polysexual and ashamed. And that's the thing, dude. Like, at the end of the day, if Alex Jones were to come out and be like, folks, I've been drinking the water and I got news. I'm gay. I'd be like, you know what, dude? If they ever try to take away gay rights, I will be an ally for your right to be gay. However, everything else, fuck you, dude. I hope you sleep on the street. I hope you have to live the experience that the majority of the fucking parents of those kids from Sandy Hook had to with your fucking crazy ass shit.
You're thinking that, but don't you worry. And lastly, for the main event.
Oh, dude, shit, my bad. Alex Jones fucking knew he was gonna get me upset too.
Oh.
We're gonna get to
God,
Ryan Walters.
I got Masterful Gambit
He is the
twice.
State Superintendent of Oklahoma. He came out and said, "Hey, the
Fuck,
Bible
man,
needs
if
to
only
be
I
in
got my
public
communications
schools. We need
major.
to have prayer,
Right?
all that fun.
Fuck
Oh,
me,
he
dude.
believed in aliens.
I'm excited to announce today that Oklahoma is the
They
first
could have helped
state
you.
to bring the Bible back to the classroom.
Oh,
Today,
this
we
video!
purchased over
I
500
wanted to
Bibles
see. Did
that will be
I
in
show
the
you
AP
this video?
government classrooms across the state. Bible just like this.
The Bible he is holding up in the video is the Trump Bible. He purchased the Trump Bible.
Oh yeah,
So
I was talking
went and
about that.
got the
Let's
Trump
go.
Bible for myself, and
It's almost like I know
started to
something.
speak to MAGA with the Trump Bible. Actually, I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Did you see that
here.
video of
The
that
interactions that I had
school
with MAGA
superintendent
with
guy?
the Trump Bible were
Yeah,
probably
that's what I
the
was just
most
talking about a little bit
unique
ago.
interactions I
Woo!
have had.
That shit pissed me the
What do
fuck
you
off.
think the King James Bible says about homosexuality?
It's a sin. It's an
It's a sin.
abomination.
Did you know King James was gay?
That is a big misconception.
Oh, it's a
He was openly
misconception.
gay. He had a boyfriend that came to meetings with him and kissed him in public.
Someone told me that King James was a homosexual and that Jesus was an open borders leftist socialist Palestinian.
Yep.
Can we just have separation of church and state? We should have one, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people who would try to argue that the Constitution actually specifically doesn't exclude religion from the state, even though like it's literally in there. Because freedom of religion doesn't mean like freedom to, force people to be Christian. It just means that you can be Christian or Buddhist or whatever.
Right.
Because a lot of people that originally came to America came here because they weren't allowed to practice their fucking religion. And then also a lot of them were criminals and people that were released from like dungeons and jails and whatnot.
Right. Just because we
Yeah.
have a law that or whatever saying that there is a separation of church and state doesn't mean that the social aspect of it, there's people out there trying to combine the two. That's why, you have Congress before they go into the meetings every day, they pray, which shouldn't, happen. Or like I was saying last week, that one of the city hall or Congress buildings has the 10 commandments above it. It shouldn't. Just because it is separation of church and state doesn't mean that the people in a state is going to separate the church from it.
Open
I
the
mean,
door.
Jesus Christ, they fucking added "In God We Trust" in the back of the dollar. Like
Yeah.
what, 70
Well,
years ago?
that wasn't necessarily for religious reasons though.
But it's still
I
ridiculous.
mean, like it has religion in its name. I'll give you that much. But the main issue is, "In God We Trust" was added as part of like the whole Red Scare phenomenon that was going on and taking place. Because one of the main arguments against communism is that its absence of religion. Because ultimately, a lot of people who are communist are atheist, And that's why, for example, in South America, you saw a lot of Nazis, go from Europe to South America because South America was like, hey, we need to get rid of these fucking communists. They are threatening all of our missions. They are threatening all of this shit. Like, we need help. The Vatican said, no problem. We'll help transport them. And that's what they did.
Mm.
Fun fact.
Right.
But again, I'm a fucking idiot, so what do I know?
Right.
That's totally incorrect.
Would you like to read the Trump Bible with me, ma'am?
I have my own Catholic version, thanks.
And I say that because I know he's still here.
Are you saying that the Trump Bible, are you blaspheming Donald Trump?
No, that's a Protestant Bible.
What? This is Donald Trump's Bible. It's a what? How dare you?
It's a Protestant Bible.
How dare you? This is the word of our Lord Donald Trump. Have you read the
I love the videos this guy does where he makes fun of that conservative guy who's always eating food. Like, don't you think it's just kind of funny? Like, whenever he does that shit, it gets me.
Document that Nicolas Cage tried to steal?
Yes, I almost have it memorized.
What, National Treasure?
No, the document.
Oh, okay. Much as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. How do we feel about immigration?
I think as long as you come in legally, go for it.
So if Jesus Christ were to come into this country legally, he would be allowed.
His family participated in the census.
No, they fled the census. That was the whole point. They were fleeing the census.
Jesus was a socialist Palestine immigrant.
No, he wasn't. He
Yo, that's another thing. That's another thing that doesn't get talked about enough, and I usually try to stay away from it because I don't like talking religion for two different reasons. One, even though I grew up in a family that was Irish Catholic, I wasn't really Irish Catholic. Like, my grandfather and, some of my cousins, one of which in here, like, they went to church a whole shit ton, a lot more than I did. Okay? So I don't even like to touch into that. And two, even though I don't particularly like organized religion, I understand that it's not inherently evil. I understand that, like, ultimately it is a tool. And since it is a tool, I would like to use religion for good as opposed to what it is often used for now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I usually try to stay away. But that's a great point. Like, Jesus was a dude from the Middle East, okay? The Middle fucking East, in Jerusalem. Where is Jerusalem? In Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the Abraham Accords and Donald Trump where they said, no. Jerusalem is the capital and where we're going to put the embassy for Israel in the United States.
Which Trump did.
Yep. And that's why things got accelerated even more. And that's one of many reasons why you saw an acceleration to what happened on October 7th last year.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And that fuels the fire for a lot of these religious nutcases, extreme Christians who believe in revelations, because that is one of the red flags for the coming of the second coming is Jerusalem being in the Holy Land, and whatever Trump just did. Sorry, I'm brain fogging right now.
You're fine.
That is a symbol. That was a symbolic gesture to the Revelations believing Christians too, as well.
And basically, from my understanding, and Jimmy, you're kind of like my go-to for this. My basic understanding, in the end of times, they need specifically both Jewish and Gentile to be in the land, and there needs to be a sacrifice of, like, the red heifer. There's, like, the red heifer thing, and
So
then
last year they found 3 of them, and they're actually in Israel right now, being held. Yes.
Yes. No, and they specifically, and the thing about the red heifer prophecy, because it's such a popular prophecy, it's been something that's been sought after for a very long time. There have been some instances where they have found one, but they didn't do anything because it was very problematic. They didn't want to raise tensions, etc. But I know that this year, because you and I think we watched a video about it together, where they had found one in Texas and shipped it all the way to fucking Israel, which is insane to me. And it's all part of, like, trying to carry out this fucking prophecy.
Absolutely.
Which ends, by the way, with everybody dying. and only specific people getting to go to heaven. So like it doesn't end well. Like it's not like they both get to get ahead or anything. It's just death and destruction.
Yeah, yeah. If quote unquote, if this mysticism shit is real, then not only is most of the world population going to die, from literally just natural disasters and stuff like that, but the economy that they talk about even in Revelations, like, is absolutely terrifying. The fact that if you don't believe in God, then you can't buy anything to eat, and that's this 666 symbol or whatever, the symbol of the beast on you. And if you do believe in God, that you can live and eat. So it's suffering after suffering after suffering for anybody who doesn't believe in God, including the Jewish nation that lives in Israel right now, as it is part of the oncoming of the second coming of God. When it happens, it says that 2/3 of the Jewish people that live in the Holy Land of Israel will die, and 1/3 of them will convert to Christianity. So, actually, in the end of it, there will be no more Jewish religion in their prophecy, anyways. So, it's not good for anyone unless you're a Christian. Literally nobody.
Those brown cows. What a bunch of weirdos. I'm agnostic now. So do you and Drew, you agreed with that? Do you guys mind if I ask you what specifically turned you guys agnostic? Was it and you don't have to get into detail if you don't want to. I understand like some of that shit can be kind of personal. Like, but was it a personal reason, or was it more like you just saw the ultimate hypocrisy of organized religion? And I guess that's not just for you two. That's for anybody in chat. You as well, Jimmy, because I know you're not agnostic, that you're atheist. So, if you wanted to chime in,
I guess I could kind of be agnostic sometimes with like energy and like the universe making things happen and shit like that. But yeah, mine was only knowing one religion, you kind of think that you're right about everything and you know it all, and then when you start learning about other ones and then more and then more and then more and then more, you kind of find out that there's the similarities, there's actually stealing from each other and taking bits and pieces. And you just kind of find out that a lot of it's just a bunch of hocus pocus, a lot of it. And your reality is your reality and what you make of it. That kind of come realization that nothing, everybody thinks that they're right. Nobody is actually right. And it's only what you believe and what you think until you die, and nobody else can change that. And that's just it. I mean, the only real thing that we know out there is that we're going to die and we're going to go into the ground and become part of the earth again. That's it. That's all we really, really know.
no, for sure. I just think even a child can poke holes through stories in the Bible. Oh, so basically, you're kind of looking at it from more of a like scientific, logical approach, which makes sense.
And you're
And a
right.
lot of bad things happen to me, and things didn't get better for a while, even if I was good, prayed or whatever. Yeah. No, and that's why too. Like, I always tell people that karma is the religion of those who don't like religion, and you know, nine out of 10 people that you ask if they're agnostic, they'll tell you that they believe in some form of karma.
Yep.
And ultimately, that's something I don't necessarily believe in either. Because if karma to me, if karma were real, there are a lot of people I know personally that are just the worst, most disgusting pieces of shit, and they get break after break after break after break after break. And then I know people who do everything by the book, who bust their ass, who do things the right way, and they just keep getting broken.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's always been hard for me in that event. And I'm always just interested in hearing how people approach it, because everybody has their own story.
I agree.
I've always leaned on the science side of things. Religion equals control. Although I believe in the creator, I find it hard to believe life just popped into existence. Okay. No, that makes sense.
I'm gonna let you.
And that's one of those things
I gotta go
too
to the
that like
bathroom really quick.
I think it's perfectly rational and reasonable to have an ideology that kind of shifts back and forth from time to time, right? Because I think it's very dangerous to get in the mindset where like Your ideology has to be permanent. It should be free flowing. It should be something that's open. Maybe there is a higher power that is beyond our comprehension, but we will never know until we die. Probably not even then. I do think sometimes organisms in the universe are a little bit too perfect, and if everything works together too well, like reproduction, so maybe there is something controlling all this, but I'm not smart enough to ever know that for sure. That knowledge is beyond my reach. Well, and I don't even know if it's one of those things where like you have to be a fucking genius to be able to comprehend or understand that like there are just way too many coincidences for it to just be random. And that's something that I always struggle with and go back and forth on too, right? Like, you mean to tell me that there was absolutely nothing for however long it was, and then all of a sudden one day a couple particles did something different for whatever reason, and next thing you know you have the big fucking bang, and then hundreds of billions of years later, us. Maybe coincidences are random. Maybe you're random.
No, he's from Nazareth.
Born where? In Palestine?
No, in
Yes.
Israel.
No, Palestine. Israel didn't exist in 1948.
You think I'm a sucker because I paid for the Trump Bible? I'm on record saying that you're the sucker, yeah.
There's like a passage here.
Yo,
I think, on
why is
immigration.
Santa so
Saw me
angry?
thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed. What I'm reading.
Yo,
the Trump
yo,
Bible.
yo, 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 yo,
You
yo,
want
yo,
me
yo,
to
yo,
wait
yo, yo.
up? Paid for the
Okay, first of all, Santa, you're on the naughty
Trump
list.
Bible.
Santa's on the naughty list. You're fucked, dude. You are fucked. He's a
There's
smoker.
like
He's got the
passage
yellow
here, I
mark.
think, on immigration.
Yo, check this out. Check out this security guard. Just keep an eye on this guy. Keep an eye on them, okay? Keep an eye on them.
Thee a stranger and took thee in.
Look, you can see the smile. You can see the smile. You can see the smile. He already knew what was up.
The Trump Bible. This is
Hell yeah.
outrage. I came here to read the Trump Bible, and you're throwing me out. I can't come in to see our Lord Donald Trump.
Dude, I feel so bad. If I were there, I'd save him. He kind of looks like Dana Carvey. I just want to put that out there for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
He looks like the cousin of Dana Carvey or something. Bruh, it's a simulation. Just kidding. Hey, there have been times where I've started going down the rabbit hole of simulation theory, and that shit's appealing, okay?
Because I have a Trump Bible, and I'm reading it. I'm reading the Trump Bible too loudly. Also, they told me I have to leave my gun in the car. I can't bring my gun into a Trump rally.
Yeah, yo, what the
Can't
fuck,
bring
dude?
my Trump
Gun-free
Bible
zones
into
are
a
not
Trump rally.
safe.
This is a fucking
Gun-free zones are not safe, brother.
this rally. What's the word? Oh, I'll tell you what the word is. I can't bring my Trump Bible into the Trump rally, and I also can't bring my gun into the Trump rally. This is a violation of my Fifth Amendment rights. They're not letting anyone in with guns. Okay, yeah, if you have a gun, you can't
Fifth
come into the Trump
Amendment.
rally. Don't worry, I'm not going to bring my gun into the Trump rally. I have the right to open carry.
Yo, if I'm just gonna say it, like, and I don't even want to. That man just said to the police, they didn't let me bring my gun in. After, dude, just to give you an idea of how much people overall actually do hate Trump, like, this motherfucker was just talking about, like, yeah, I decided not to bring my gun in. They just keep going and they just laugh because they're like, yeah, whatever. There's like 50 of you. We've heard that.
Oh,
I love those
my
furry
God.
mics. They look like mice. Dude, they kind of look, you know what they remind me of? They remind me of basically a Yeti's nutsack. Not that I've ever seen one, but because it's cold, so it's all shriveled up and shit like that. When it gets warmer, it's definitely it's more the size of a moose knuckle.
I was thinking
I'd
of
say.
a Blue Yeti, the microphone. I was like, those do look like little Blue Yeti nutsacks.
Yep. Nope. That's a fucking Sam Squanch nutsack.
No, like a Blue Yeti, you know, the microphone.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
I was just being stupid. There are definitely people worship politicians, especially Trump, but I do think most people over Trump don't do that. I think most people know that a Trump Bible is just ridiculous. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe. The only reason why I say that is because like I live in Trumpville, USA. Well, okay, I don't live in Florida, but I live in another state that might as well be Florida when it comes to fucking sucking the dick of Donald Trump. And it's just, dude, I don't know. Like, motherfuckers love that shit. Dude, people were like cleaning out their bank accounts that couldn't afford rent to donate to Trump because they were so scared that democracy was going to die. Like,
Yeah,
I,
that's so
I
fucking
don't
true.
know, man. That's what I was thinking, Jimmy. Oh,
Oh,
Drew
the
agrees
the
with what you were
the
saying
Blue Yeti
about the
bike.
Blue Yeti.
I'm so glad
Mhm.
somebody's on my page. Either we
Yeah, see,
smoke too much
California knew
weed.
what I was getting at though, because he hit the laws. So he California knew what the fuck was up. See, same thing.
Uh, we are, yes, a republic for sure.
I think that's why the Trump Santa called him a sucker. No, it's just because the Trump Santa is like, oh, this is just another lib.
Harry, you can't bring your gun in. Just
Because he's doing lib activities, dude. This is straight up lib activity.
Trump Bible or a Glock, apparently. I'm reading the Trump Bible. I'm just trying to find the part where they talk about abortion. Go away. Can you help? Wait, no, I'm reading the Trump
Dude, we're not
Bible.
even a
I'm trying to
republic,
find the
bro. We're
part
an
where it talks about
oligarchy.
abortion.
Yeah,
Can anyone
like an
show me the part
autocracy.
of the Trump Bible that talks about abortion? I just saw one about immigration, and now I want to talk about abortion.
Numbers
Thank you.
5:11.
This guy
Looking at cows'
is
butts.
unhelpful. He just doesn't
Kind of
know.
hot.
He doesn't know the Bible.
I don't even want to know the details of
I'm a
that
real Christian.
prophecy.
Are you ready?
We're an
You ready?
Olive Garden,
You ready
dude.
for the Bible?
Exactly.
Numbers 5:11 says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If a
Family,
man's wife
family,
go aside and
family,
commit a trespass
family,
against him, and a
family.
man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the
But
eyes of
no,
her husband,
the
because
basis meaning of like
fire,
oligarchy is basically just saying that like the power of an entire nation is literally just in the hands of a few. Like there's less than 20 people that control the entire country, which that's exactly what we're dealing with now. And actually an even better comparison to give you, so in America corporations run the government, and in China the government runs the corporations. So here, whatever the corporation wants, whatever's best for the corporation, they get the government to do for them. As in China, the government's like, yeah, whatever's best for us, you're gonna fucking do. And that's not me saying that like China's great or what they do is perfect. I'm just saying ultimately that in China, corporations know their place. They're not bigger than government. They're not above people. They're not above law.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I mean, yeah, I agree. Oligarchy, kakistocracy. I mean, technically, yeah, if you think about it. I mean, Trump, Elon, these type of people are going to be running our country, and they're the least suitable for sure to be running a country. So,
The
kakistocracy,
future is
yeah,
gonna be amazing.
amazing.
Amazing. USA.
What's up?
USA.
She fucking butthead, dude. I swear I'm starting to see it more and more now. Holy shit.
Aren't you glad I said that? It's gonna be in your mind now. You're never leaving
Oh,
it.
fuck.
When you're here, you're miserable, dude. That's 100%. I love that. I need to pin that to my chat.
Right.
I need to pin this to my chat. Hold on. How do I do this? User actions. How do I pin it, dude?
Right click, maybe. I don't know.
Where's that fucking track? If we really are an oligarchy, does voting for senators representative make any difference? I would say it does, and that would make us not an oligarchy. So I mean that is a good counterpoint, but my point to that is ultimately depending on. I mean, really, it kind of depends on what state, because there isn't a whole lot of federal power. There's a lot of bureaucracy, but in terms of like actual like, you know, anything with teeth, there really isn't anything there.
How about let's just say we're an oligarchy with the opportunity for the pursuit of a democracy. Does that sound good? Was that like all the little points that Kamala likes? Pursuit,
You didn't just fall
opportunities.
out of a coconut tree.
No, I absolutely just fell out of a coconut tree. I'm just saying, what if we just called it an oligarchy with
Okay, so if you want to make the argument that it's not an oligarchy, then will you at least admit that it's an aristocracy?
Hold on, let me
Because I
Google.
think you're going to Google it. Okay, I'll let you Google it, and then you can tell class what it is.
Okay. A
But you have
form
to
of
have money to
government
run.
where a small privileged class holds power. Bam! Aristocracy. That's absolutely what it is. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's a Greek thing, so this shit's been around forever.
privileged class, and that's exactly what we have in case. Now, again, I think the argument, to go back to the oligarchy argument, voting for senators and representatives makes differences. I don't deny that. That's why I still tell people to vote, especially when it comes to local elections. Local politics matters. Shout out to my brother's podcast. All politics are local. Go check it out. But I think the differences that they make are impactful, but ultimately, let's say, for example, if you vote for a senator or a member of Congress that you want to expand some sort of Medicaid or Medicare program in your state, right? Because we're about to have a Trump presidency, states' rights are going to be a big thing. They want to start a health initiative. Now, ultimately, if you have a free healthcare program or an expansion of, you know, Medicare, Medicaid, that goes against the interest of capital, because ultimately you're cutting into profits of those companies that lobby the government. So, in a lot of cases, what ends up happening on specific things, and this isn't, you know, like all the time, but what ends up happening a lot of times is that these local politicians get pressured to either back down or create loopholes so they can use and abuse the system. And by the time that the loophole gets exposed, they've already figured out another way to get around it, so that when that law gets passed, they can already be ahead of the game.
Which is, yeah, where we're at now. They already are ahead of all the games.
Nail hit on the head, I think. Yeah, I would say we probably have an aristocracy. And
Yeah.
and so, okay, if you can at least agree with me on that, I think that's definitely like a good step forward, right? Like, I think that's a good base of operation, because at least then we can operate with the understanding that we both agree, ultimately, regardless of what your political affiliation may be as a politician, not somebody who votes for this, but as a politician in the United States, if you were Democrat or Republican, ultimately you bow down to the same benefactors. You have the same people telling you to go out there and say shit. Like, just to give you an example and to give you an idea of how it works, right? Democrats come out and they talk about the institutions. They talk about how fucking great they are, how perfect they are, and that's why people don't want to vote for them anymore, because they still come out and they use the same old lines where, like, our country is perfect and we're great and we're doing swell and the economy is busting and this and this and this and this. And people aren't seeing that in their real fucking life. And why are Democrats saying that? Not because they might actually believe it, but because ultimately their corporate benefactors are telling them, you have to fucking pitch this shit. You have to get confidence up so people continue to spend. That's what the fuck we need. You can't tell people that we're extorting more of their labor, right, through record profits and wages, right, but not increasing the wages for the workers. So ultimately, and again, I think it's a great encapsulation of why we started doing our political show, Jimmy and I, because there is a huge disconnect between people who are like myself and even people maybe who are like Drew, or even people like you, Tyler, where you guys may see yourself in a certain political spectrum and label. And I know labels sometimes are very tricky, but ultimately, when it comes to a lot of the issues, we all agree on the problems. Okay, it's how we respond to it. That's when things start getting tricky. And That's why I've been doing such random ass streams of different topics, because I want to go through case by case and show you examples of a lot of the suggestions of things that people try to tell us that we need to do to fix it. We've already done in the past. It worked out fucking horribly. We don't need to try it again. And a lot of the answers revolve around keeping things in the ideal form of capitalism. So, like, an example to give you what I mean by that: immigration. Robert Reich, who is, big time fucking capitalist, he loves the Democratic Party, hates Trump, but when he talks about immigration, he only talks about it from an economic level, not a humanitarian one. And that tells you something, right? Like, at the first thought of a human life, you think about the economic impact as opposed to the human impact. That just shows that you value materials and money over people. And that's what he does. And that is the attitude of the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. Because don't get it twisted. Like I'm saying with the Democrats, they represent the institutions. Republicans represent how to extort and use loopholes to benefit from the institutions that are meant to keep you in check.
Mm-hmm.
So don't for 1 second get it twisted and think that when I'm saying this about Democrats, that Republicans are any better, because they're not. And it's oftentimes used in a lot of arguments where they try to say, well, like, oh, well, Democrats aren't going to help you if you're, if you're poor, if you're a person of color or whatever. It's like, okay, but the Republicans aren't either. When have they ever done anything to show that they have a vested interest in trying to help people, specifically those who are people of color?
Oh, well, they'll say, Trump pulled us out of Afghanistan.
But he didn't.
Right.
But Trump didn't even pull us out of Afghanistan. You know who did?
Right. Biden.
Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Joe fucking Biden.
Right. We
And
still
Joe
say
Biden
that.
had to.
But that's the
Joe
thing, is they'll
Biden.
go around saying that Trump is like, oh, this peace guy who took us out of Afghanistan, and not even remember that like a couple months after he pulled us out of, or didn't even finish, but started pulling it, he was like, we're going to keep people there because we're going to protect the oil. Remember the protect the oil. I
Gotta
remember him
protect
saying
the
that.
oil.
I remember him
Yeah.
saying that. Like when like, please give me a Republican talking point of something good that Trump did, and I could prove to you that he didn't.
Believe me. Big time.
The floor of the tabernacle and put it into
Oh,
the water.
shit. Skirt.
And the priest shall set the
Skirt.
woman
Hit
before
the
the
wrong button.
Lord and uncover the woman's head and put the offering of memorial in her hands. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that causes the curse.
Is this an abortion that's
Yeah,
happening?
it's an abortion happening in the Bible.
Are they telling you how to do an abortion? I mean, I don't like this Bible, okay? I just started reading this Trump Bible. There's parts on immigration, how to do an abortion. This book should be banned!
And
He
that's the
said-
thing, too,
said
about whenever
removing
people
the
try to make
curse.
the argument about, like, we're a Christian nation. Okay, if that's the case,
Silly
then
me. I thought to myself,
how the
oh my
fuck
God, what am I
are we
do
going
with
to,
this
like,
after
just
the
ignore
election?
all the messages from the Bible, right? Like,
Here I was worried.
because if Jesus were to be alive, and today,
And lo and behold, the universe was
you know what Fox News and Republicans and even CNN and MSNBC would be saying about him? He's a radical socialist. He's a Marxist Leninist. He wants to feed poor people for free. He wants to heal sick people for free. He wants to give homes to people who are homeless. He wants to put an end to war. What kind of fucking weirdo?
How are you going to pay for it, though?
Exactly. Meanwhile, wait, what was that? Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. How are you going to pay for it? That's the big question they always say when it comes to helping out anyone in America. How are you going to pay for it?
So, I'm glad you say that. Check this out. Pentagon has failed its 7th annual audit in a row. It says it's still unable to fully account for more than $824 billion with a B dollars budget.
Huh.
$824 billion just peepo poof.
Yep.
We don't know. We
Good to
don't
know,
know.
7th year in a row, almost $1 trillion fucking dollars. I wonder how much
We
$1
don't know.
trillion fucking dollars would do to our national debt and people's fucking little fear-mongering bullshit if the Pentagon actually got accounted for. That's bullshit. The 7th year in a row.
And that's actually a good transition. I'm glad that you brought it up the way that you did. Because check this out, okay? Keep this in mind. They also just recently passed a law to where if you get over $600 in Venmo, you have to report it to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
You have to report it. So if you fuck them over on $600 or more, they are on your ass. If that's the case, what's up with this? How come 824? And this isn't just like a first time oopsies, dude. It's 7 fucking times in a row that they failed an audit.
That's a
Failed.
lot of money.
And even the audits that they have passed, there was still unaccounted money. So whenever people try to hit you with, how are we going to pay for it? How are we going to, we can't afford to feed people. We can't afford to take care of sick Americans. Where do we get the money? Things aren't free. You know what you do? You fucking show them this tweet. You're like, hey, we just give the military $824 billion and they don't have to account for it. Meanwhile, we got fucking Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk talking about government efficiency. And whenever they talk about government efficiency, I'm showing this for a specific reason. When people talk about making cuts to government efficiency, they're not talking about being fucking strict on the military and being like, hey, dude, it's been 7 times in a row now, and you guys have just had hundreds of trillions of dollars missing over, the past 10 years. What the fuck's going on? It's never that. You know what it is? Schools, healthcare, Social Security.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. It shocks us. The money definitely didn't go poof. The government just doesn't think we deserve to know what they do behind the scenes. I mean, I've actually been,
Exactly.
I've worked, I've gone to school I'm a military brat. I've worked on bases. A lot of that money that's unaccounted for, it doesn't just go poof. What it is they overinflate the price of things. So let's say, like this is just one little aspect of like this kind of money laundering bullshit that they do. Let's say a hammer breaks. All right, the hammer part comes off of the actual handle part of the hammer. They'll put in for the monthly budget that they need another hammer, and that hammer, just a hammer, is like 10,000 fucking dollars for a hammer. Like, oh, they broke a toilet in one of the bathrooms at one of the barracks in the boys' barracks. Like, $50,000 for a fucking toilet. It's the overpricing of things just so they could probably, I mean, I don't, that's where they don't tell you where the money goes after that, probably pocketing a lot of generals because the generals and shit live in very, very, very nice houses. Like the higher up rank you get on bases, the better living conditions you have. Like you can, starting off in like a 1 bedroom apartment or a studio apartment building with a bunch of other people, but the general's house is like 4 blocks away and he has like a fucking 6 bedroom, 4 bathroom mansion with like just huge acres. And remember, this is on base. So they're not paying rent, mortgage, utility, just, extra things like cable and shit. So everything is paid for out there. Um, no taxes at grocery stores. Like they get hooked the fuck up and they're probably getting pocketed the money while saying, oh, this broke, so it's going to be this much money. I mean, I used to fucking detail vehicles, all right, washing vehicles there. They would bring their work trucks in 2 times a month for no fucking reason just to spend the money.
Mm.
They just
And
that's what they do out there. That's the Pentagon. That's military. It's just
well, I remember too. I
corrupt.
watched a documentary about military bases over in Afghanistan and Iraq. And a lot of times, what they do is they'd have equipment that was shitty, so they'd fuck it up intentionally and
Yep.
just invoice a whole bunch of new stuff. And so it's just like they would start doing that. They would use it 1 or 2 times, and they'd be like, "Okay, we're done. We want new shit." They
Yep.
just always wanted the new stuff.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
Absolutely.
also like people weren't getting body armor and shit. They were getting blown the fuck up. Well, guys, I gotta head out, but I hope you have a good one, dude. I appreciate you hanging out, being part of the conversation. Always a pleasure to have you, dude. Feel free to pop back if you can. If not, see you next time.
Yes. Alien
Uh,
reverse engineering programs.
yeah, exactly.
Uh.
ET phone home. IRS when the Pentagon overspends 824 billion versus when I send $150 venue. Oh dear, oh gorgeous, you fucking donkey. Yeah, that's exactly it. And again, just to kind of reinforce what we were just talking about, we have John Bolton, this Dr. Seuss looking ass motherfucking caterpillar's face.
Right. Speaking
Talking
of
about the
disgusting
government of efficiency.
politicians and the sex industry and shit, I know that that motherfucker goes to dungeons and gets fucking spanked. I know he does.
Yeah. He might even dress up in a diaper.
For
You know
real.
what I mean?
I'm,
He might be one of the baby dudes.
I'm
Goo goo
serious.
gaga.
For
Goo goo
real.
gaga.
Fucking for real.
Mommy's milk.
Oh, I see it. I
But
just
yeah,
see it.
let's hear about what this fucking disgusting piece of shit has to say about the Department of Government Efficiency.
That's the
I mean,
Doge thing,
hey,
right? That's the Elon thing.
he's the defense contractor like Elon Musk. Surely he won't favor the industry that he's in when he gets in power, right? Let's watch.
Look, Musk may have a big role here. It's not entirely clear what Trump is going to do with this Department of Government Efficiency. If we can save a couple $100 billion, I'd be delighted. We can spend it on the defense budget, which desperately needs an increase.
The defense budget needs an increase. Hello? Go back to this, please. Just going back to this for a minute. The Defense Department needs an increase. Buddy, they can't even account for the $824 fucking billion that we send them.
For real. Wow.
And that's in a year. Just think about that.
Yeah. I wonder how many trillions of dollars they haven't paid and it's not accounted for.
But I didn't have water in my mouth.
Mhm.
Shit, but for real. God damn.
Fuck.
All
Oh,
right,
talking
our
about
next video.
getting spanked.
Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, massive cuts to bureaucracy. Now that sounds great, right? I think it's safe to say that a lot of us hate bureaucracy. We understand how much it gets in the way. If you've ever had to go to the hospital, if you've ever had an illness, if
Right.
you've ever had to run in with the law, if you've ever, you know what I mean? Like if you've just been like a normal person and live life, you understand that like, the DMV, all these other places, they fucking suck. They're shit. They're poorly ran. They're not efficient. They're not. They are not efficient at all. So naturally, when you hear government of efficiency program, damn, that sounds pretty good. Then you hear them talking about they're going to be making cuts to bureaucracy. Hey, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds kind of nice. It's understandable to have that reaction, but you have to ask yourself, what do they mean by bureaucracy? Do they mean that they're going to make massive cuts to all of the loopholes and all of the red tape that keeps people from actually getting help and people who don't need help abusing the system and getting help? No, that's not what they mean. You know what they mean? Getting rid of the fucking programs entirely. That's what they mean.
I agree.
We also need to ask Liz Miller what she thinks about all this. The newly minted Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, expected to lob a shattering
Fucking
blow at
Doge.
federal bureaucracy and redundancy.
ridiculous.
Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy both tapped as co-leaders.
Beavis and
Listen to this.
Butthead.
Over $500 billion that's spent every year right now was not even authorized by Congress in the first place. They can't even.
Oh, kind of like the majority of the military budget. Is that what he's talking about?
Well, also the interest in loans from the banks. That's another one too.
Yep.
For 40 years about cutting the federal government, about reducing the scope of the federal government. Politicians haven't been able to do it. And so Elon and I, we're not politicians. We're businessmen. We're coming at it from the outside.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, from the outside, dude. They're such big outsiders. They're totally... Yo, when I think of fucking Elon Musk, I think outsider. I think guy who's not part of the crowd. I think man of the people.
No.
Wait, you know what? Let's check it out. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk's net worth isn't that much. Let's check it out. Let's type it in.
Or
Elon
Vivek
Musk.
Ramaswamy. Like, didn't that guy run for office? Like, and
Oh,
failed?
$318 billion. Yeah. Chump change.
Chump
He has
change.
more money than Jeff Bezos now.
Oh.
He has more money. Oh, what's this? Elon Musk is $70 billion richer since Trump victory? I wonder why Tesla stock surged as soon as Trump got elected.
Yeah, right.
That sure seems like draining the swamp to me.
That sounds like an inside club and we ain't in it. Like, you want to talk about how you're on the outside and shit. That sounds like y'all are doing shit to help
Yeah.
benefit each other and make each other fucking rich. I'm not a part of that meeting. Where was I in this meeting?
Oh shit,
Inside
football
meeting.
game? enjoy. I forgot Thursday Night Football. Appreciate you, brother.
Simpson Bowles Commission
Boy.
proved that it's not hard to find waste, fraud,
We've been having a
abuse,
pretty
violations
kick-ass
of
stream
tax
today.
spending.
Oh yeah.
What's hard
Been pretty
is
nice.
getting Congress
Yeah,
to
you're
go
awesome.
through with it. Is that going to be any different this time around?
Y'all's
Yes, it will
awesome.
be different. What Bowles didn't have at that time was the megaphone Elon Musk has. You got to remember, politicians
This
have to
fucking
raise
bald
money.
piece of
These
shit.
days, they do it using
He's from Shark
social
Tank,
media.
right?
Now, what
Kevin
Elon
O'Leary?
has that people
Yeah.
keep forgetting because they say, well, he doesn't
He's a
have
fucking
legislative
venture
mandate here.
capitalist.
And I say, oh, he's got
Yeah,
better than
another
that.
Trump.
He's got X. So what happens is you're in some state somewhere and you own a project to nothing and you're spending $2 billion. He just will shame you out. He'll start naming to all of your voters exactly what you've done wrong and what you're not doing to fix it. And I love the concept of just squeezing
Oh,
heads
wow.
to stop
You're
waste.
telling me
because
a guy
all he
is
has to do
losing
is
money on an investment, and when people criticize him losing money on an investment, he just projects and starts criticizing other people? Huh. Huh.
Yeah. But you know what? I will say this. And this is something that people need to take into account. Did he lose money on Twitter, on acquiring Twitter? 100%. And we should make fun of him. 100%. But ask yourself this. Did he or did he not also kind of start changing the culture?
Ugh.
Did he or did he not end up getting some sort of influence?
Yeah.
Not just on Trump, but on voters. That's
Yeah.
the question. That's the question.
Word on the machine. Now, it's going to be very contentious. I've said this multiple times about this man.
USA.
The power he has
USA.
is not to be underestimated.
Hate it.
Because if you can get to the voter of that governor or that senator that's wasting money in his eyes, and he can make a good case on X, you're going to cause a lot of damage in that constituency. And I love this idea because it's a negotiation. That's what it is. If you don't fix this, I'm going to call you out.
Yeah, the $44 billion he spent on X might seem like a bargain in the long run if he gets to leverage it like that.
Yo, Jesus
Here's a
Christ,
breakdown
this guy
of
looks
federal
scary.
spending, just so that folks at home know where their tax dollars are going. Healthcare.
Why does he
25%,
look so
Social Security,
scary?
25%, defense 13 to 15%, safety net programs 10%, interest on the national debt 8 to 10%. The way it breaks down is 61% of spending is mandatory, 13% is on debt service, 26% is discretionary, which really will be the target of DOGE. And that is a small piece of the pie to try to wring $2 trillion out of, Kevin.
I don't know. I think healthcare could be another place of savings. We haven't really used.
Oh, healthcare. Because we all know healthcare is so great in this country, it could totally take some more cuts. I mean, shit. In the old neighborhood that I used to live in before I moved, you want to know what happened to the fucking Trauma 1 center that was, 5-10 minutes from me? That was operating for, 50, 60 years? It closed. It closed.
Wow.
They closed it down. They sold out. The city sold it to a fucking private company, and they closed it. So if you live in my neighborhood and you get shot or you get in an accident or something very fucking traumatizing physically happens to you, you better hope that the 25, 30-minute fucking car ride across the bridge to go to fucking, Swedes or OSF or whatever, you better hope you make it. And better hope traffic's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking insane. It's ridiculous.
Right. Or rural mountain areas like this, you get into a really bad accident or you get really hurt or you get lost. You have to wait on a helicopter. It's the only way to take you to an ER hospital is a helicopter ride because there's no way that the ambulance is going to be able to come and get you. There's too many windy roads. You have to go by helicopter. There's nothing around. But cut healthcare though.
Yeah, let's cut healthcare. And I love the fact that this guy, he's suggesting it because this rich motherfucker, it doesn't matter to him.
Mm-hmm.
He can get the best of the best. That's nothing.
Yeah, he's got a doctor on call that can go to his house at any time he wants.
Technology there yet. We haven't really digitized medical records. We really haven't brought a mandate of AI into that.
Oh yeah, dude. Digitizing medical records, leaving them online and using AI, totally not hackable, totally not fucking vulnerable for people, and totally wouldn't be used by Donald Trump to fucking infiltrate and use against political opponents and people that he deems enemy of the state. Not at all. Totally not possible.
Right?
I
Like,
think
you
we could
people
save
are
a lot
worried
of
about the
money.
government
The
spying
U.S.
on
has
us.
one of the
Like,
worst
you want them to have our medical records
IRR
now?
returns on healthcare spending when you can.
Yo, they don't want fucking digital voting machines because of fucking possible tampering, but they want fucking digitized healthcare.
Wow, yeah.
Compare it to some of the European
You know what I mean?
countries
Yeah.
like Switzerland or England or France, they do a much better job. But they
God
share
damn,
the records on a much more ubiquitous
I,
basis
like
that we
that
do.
literally
We're
just
always
hit me.
concerned
Like
about sitting-
literally just hit me. Like they literally talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we want to go to the paper ballot because it's more secure. It's more secure. It can't be manipulated. It can't be hacked.
Right.
But when it comes to like holding on to very vulnerable information, very critical information, your fucking health,
They want
we
an
need to
AI
make
to
it
operate it.
digitized. We
Right.
need to have AI systems that get fucking subcontracted to a fucking underdeveloped nation so they don't have to pay them as much.
Right. But then you got Elon Musk running around talking about the dangers of AI and how it's scary and they could take over the world, but he's allowing this shit to happen.
And also building fucking robots
Yeah,
that
that's
are
true too.
basically slaves.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kim Kardashian fucking being his free advertiser.
Same with
privacy, but
Kai
I think we
Sadat.
can fix that too. But I
Yeah,
love
Kai
looking at
Cenat
everything. I
too.
don't see any
Yeah.
reason why these two.
I still
can't
like
just
Kai
release
Cenat.
the
I think his
hounds
streams are pretty fun.
And go nuts.
That
Everybody's
motherfucker
interested
streaming
to
for a
find out what they're
month
going to see.
straight.
And I'd like to hear it myself because maybe it's a means test on Social
That
Security.
motherfucker's about to be a
We
Guinness
have to
World
fix
Records.
this
It's
because
crazy.
This dude just said a means test on Social Security. So basically, what people need to understand when they talk about means testing, like basically what they're saying is we're going to see whether or not we can increase the age requirement to get on Social Security. Because Gam Gam working at Walmart isn't enough. We need to bring Gam Gam back from the dead when she passes and fucking make her work for an extra couple months so we can get somebody new.
deficit's getting a little big right now, and the bond market's starting to get a little uneasy in the 10-year. I worry about that.
And again, Social Security, it's something that we all pay into. Everybody pays into it. Everybody pays into it. Okay? Everybody does. Everybody. But yet, we can't fund that. We can't take maybe 10, 15 billion to put in Social Security out of this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just 10, 15 billion. You still have 800 billion to do shit with.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
But how are you
to the
gonna
next
pay
story.
for it?
Yeah. How are you going to pay for it, man? I don't know. Helping people, that shit's kind of fucking, I don't know. That's kind of woke, dude. It's kind of gay.
Right.
In The Hague, the international.
So, into the next video that we're going to be going into. Wanted for war crimes, ICC issues arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant over Gaza. This is very big news, especially those who've been following the conflict that's been taking place over the past year, or those who have been paying attention to it even longer, or maybe those who have been following it since they started turning into a leftist. I know there's different stages of understanding what's happening in Palestine, but it's definitely big news. It is something that I never thought I myself would see in my lifetime, which is the leader, the governmental leader of Israel being held accountable in some form, whether it be symbolic or not, for war crimes. Definitely interesting. Definitely, again, something I didn't see coming. But we're going to hear the great, glorious Amy Goodman, future ex-wife.
National Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for crimes against humanity and war crimes committed during Israel's assault on Gaza. In a statement, the ICC said the Israeli leaders had, quote, intentionally and knowingly deprived the civilian population in Gaza of objects indispensable to their survival, including food, water, and medicine and medical supplies, as well as fuel and electricity. The ICC also issued an arrest warrant for Hamas military commander Mohammad Deif, though Israel's military claims it killed Deif in a July airstrike. The ICC arrest warrants come a week after a UN Special Committee found Israel's actions in Gaza since October 2023 are, quote, consistent with genocide. including using starvation as a weapon of war and recklessly inflicting civilian casualties.
In related news, on Wednesday, the United States vetoed a Gaza ceasefire resolution at the UN Security Council.
Whoa, wait, what? I thought I could have
Wow.
sworn that I heard
For the
that
fourth
all we've ever
time,
heard
and the U.S. Senate
the fourth
rejected a
time. Oh,
resolution
they've done it four
brought by
times. Yeah, I could have sworn that we kept hearing
sought to
specifically
block the
about
sale
how,
of U.S.
you know,
tank rounds,
Palestinians, specifically Hamas,
weapons to
didn't want to
Israel.
perform any sort of peace
19
treaty. Jesus fucking
senators
Christ.
supported
Right.
blocking the arms. For more
That's
But
so
yo,
weird.
all of this,
yeah,
we're
we
joined
vetoed
by
it?
Akbar
What?
Shahed Ahmed,
I wonder
senior
why they didn't
diplomatic
talk about that in
correspondent
mainstream
for
media.
HuffPost.
I wonder if
His
veto
latest
means to
piece
pass it
is
really quick without
exclusive.
anybody knowing
White
and just
House
help them.
says Democrats who oppose weapons to Israel are aiding Hamas. Ahmed, thank you so
This is a crazy fucking headline.
Right? Huffington Post. Can you believe it?
This is a wild headline. What are we doing?
A year in, and they're still saying this.
Opposing weapons to fucking genociders is aiding the group that's fighting against the genociders. First of all, motherfucker, that's what people want. That's what more than 60% of the United States fucking electorate want.
Mm-hmm.
God, these people are gross.
much for
That's
being with
crazy.
us as you write your book on the Biden administration in Gaza called Crossing the Red Line. Clearly, the ICC has ruled that today by issuing arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as the former defense minister, Yoav Gallant. Can you talk about the significance of this move?
Yeah, Amy, this is just an absolutely huge development, and it's significant for a number of reasons. It's significant because
Oh, hey, it's him again.
the ICC has come out and amplified and affirmed the allegations of crimes against humanity, of war crimes. This is one more international body. These are trained international judges with a great deal of respect. This is a court that most of the world is a member of. And they're coming out and saying, look, we think there are reasonable grounds to believe that these major international red lines have been crossed by the Israelis.
Wait, red lines have been crossed? I could have sworn Biden came out and was like, listen, we're drawing a line in the sand, and it's Rafah. Oh, yeah, that's right. They bombed the fuck out of Rafah.
Yeah.
What's really important to remember...
And then he said it was a red line if they didn't allow mutual aid in. That was his other red line. And then reports came out, what was it, like a week or two ago, that like mutual aid hasn't been in there. And that fucking gangs within Palestine have been like trying to hijack it and shit. So like Hamas started fucking killing people that were trying to steal the fucking supplies that were being dropped in.
Is that this isn't just a decision about Israel. By extension, it fundamentally is a decision.
And that's not even talking about the time that
which
Israel
has
started
been
shooting at
the
and dropping
ultimate
bombs on
enabler
people trying to
of
pick up
Israel's
supplies.
offensives in Gaza and Lebanon,
Yeah, the
which are under
assault for the
consideration by the ICC.
flower massacre.
And even in this ICC statement today, they point out that in the situations where Israel has addressed concerns over what it describes as starvation as a method of warfare, right, depriving civilians, Palestinians of food, water, medical equipment, Israel has really only done so in an extremely arbitrary and what the ICC judges call conditional way in response to the US. So fundamentally, Amy, what we're seeing is the ICC is saying yet again that Israel and the US, as its major enabler and backer, are in the dark and will continue to be in the dark for years to come. This kind of adds to a broader picture in which there are now ICC warrants for the sitting Israeli Prime Minister and former Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, who remains a significant politician in Israel. Simultaneously, there's the genocide case at the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, which is ongoing and will be ongoing for years to come. And there's the Geneva Conventions Conference underway next year regarding kind of similar issues, right? Violations of international law, laws of war, and these really grave abuses that are alleged. So
this dude not only has genocide and like fucking laws of humanity violations right now, he has fucking other charges that he's being investigated and want to be apprehended for a complete separate issue.
Before all this got started.
the US and Israel will be kind of on trial on the international stage for years to come.
Good, as they should.
So, Akbar, would you say that this move is mostly a symbolic one? Because, as you pointed out, of course, most countries are members of the International Criminal Court, but in this instance, perhaps most importantly, neither Israel nor the U.S. are.
Right, Nermeen. So, and that's something that the ICC judges did get into today, right? Because Israel said, look, the International Criminal Court doesn't have jurisdiction over us. That said, the state of Palestine is a member of the court, and that's where this becomes a relevant and interesting thing, because you've seen European nations recognize Palestine as a state. You've seen Palestine join the United Nations General Assembly over just last year. So, yes, while the US and Israel continue to reject international scrutiny by the ICC, by the ICJ of Israel's conduct in Gaza and the occupied West Bank and Lebanon, there's a growing international push to kind of challenge that. Right, and I think you will see the Biden administration and the incoming Trump administration assertively push back against the ICC. The Trump administration did actually target the ICC directly when President Trump was last in office, threatening to put sanctions on ICC officials. And we also know from reporting that the Israelis have spied on and threatened the ICC themselves, according to reporting by the Guardian.
Surprise.
So yes, there will be increased pressure, but I think we're really in a place that.
And let me just say this too, because I want to put it out there for the record, and I hope that anybody who disagrees just kind of looks into sanctions more. Sanctions are inhumane. Sanctions are inhumane.
Yep.
I understand that they're effective to where it eventually gets a government to cave in, and but it's at the expense of average people, because those are the people that end up paying the price.
Yep.
The oligarchs, all the corporatists, all those motherfuckers, they're good. Even with sanctions, they're good because people are still buying their products, so they're still making money in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's everybody else that's not going to have anything.
No one thought we would be, even a few months ago, right? I think even the prospect of the ICC prosecutor successfully getting these warrants issued, it was initially thought that would be quite quick. It's taken a long time. The fact that judges were able to issue those warrants suggests that even though it's an uphill battle to get this international scrutiny, there's a real determination and clear will. And we've seen a lot of states turn around and say over 13 months, right, since the October 7th attack by Hamas within Israel that did spark this current round of fighting, there have been calls to say we don't want this to escalate, right? The US's allies, Western countries have said, we want to resolve this, we don't want you on trial. Can the US and Israel please change course? And what you've seen is a defiance from Tel Aviv and from Washington to say, actually, no, we're continuing these wars. So that does take it to a different forum to kind of change the policy.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen.
And Akbar, could you also, while we're looking at the way in which international organizations, multilateral ones, are responding to this, what about the latest vote at the Security Council and the fact that the U.S. blocked it for the fourth time, a ceasefire vote?
It's really striking at this point, right, to see the Biden administration totally alone. And you see how this develops over the course of the war. Initially, the US was able to get Britain, even France, kind of abstaining, standing with them. And now 13 months in, where conduct hasn't changed, and you still have daily strikes that are killing dozens, sometimes over 100 civilians. You have a mounting death toll of mostly women and children. The US is totally alone, where it's shielding Israel on the world stage diplomatically. And this is really important to see in the context of the Biden administration as an outlier, even among American presidents and administrations. When President Barack Obama was in office, after he was in the lame duck period that President Biden is in now, he actually did abstain at the United Nations Security Council and said, you know what, go ahead and pass a resolution
Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that
Israel
button.
doesn't like. Because tacitly, the U.S. acknowledged there was a basis, there were credible grounds for that resolution, which in that instance was about Israeli settlement activity. Here, what you're seeing from the Biden administration, even in their dying days, right, 2 months to go, there's an obstinacy, a defiance, and a real commitment to shielding Israel, even if they are totally alone against now their closest allies. Britain, France, and everyone else on the Security Council. So I think the context of that veto kind of presages whatever may come in the next 2 months in terms of the Biden administration.
No, exactly. Why are you trying to
allowing
isolate
the
yourself
of
from
the wars?
the very few allies that you have left?
Right.
Akbar, I wanted to play Palestine's envoy to the United Nations,
Especially if you're gonna
Majid
start doing
Vanya,
terrorists and shit.
speaking yesterday.
There is no right to mass killing of civilians. There is no right to starve an entire civilian population. There is no right to forcibly displace a people. And there is no right to annexation. This is what Israel is doing in Gaza. Maybe for some we have the wrong nationality, the wrong faith, the wrong skin color. But we are humans. And we should be treated as such. Is there a UN charter for Israel that is different from the charter you all have? Tell us. Is there an international law for them, an international law for us? Do they have the right to kill, and the only right we have is to die?
Okay. So, oh
In The
shit.
Hague, the international.
Whoopsies. Was there anything that you wanted to add? Jimmy? Jimmy Crackcorn? All right, I think we lost Jimmy. Here is the White House response to the ICC. Kind of interested to see whether or not, law and order and principalities come into play, or if it's just going to be more of the same.
We fundamentally reject the court's decision to issue arrest warrants for senior Israel officials.
Oh!
We remain deeply concerned by the prosecutor's rush to seek arrest warrants and the troubling process errors that led to this decision. The United States has been clear that the ICC does not have jurisdiction over this matter. You've heard us say this before. Whatever this prosecutor might imply, there is no evidence, none, between Israel and Hamas. There's just none.
There's no evidence? There's no evidence. So our eyes lie to us. Interesting.
In coordination with partners, including Israel, we are discussing certainly those next steps, what that's going to look like. And to your question about sanctions, that's basically kind of just answered it in that last part of what I said. We're in consultation with our partners and also, which include Israel, about our next steps. We fundamentally reject that the ICC has jurisdiction over this situation.
Of course you do.
Yeah, so welcome back.
Thank y'all.
Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Bloomberg, a scoobity boobity boop. Oh, Jimmy, do you want to talk about this?
Which
you want
one?
to drop this off because you had sent that article.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, go ahead and take over if you want to.
Crap. Holy crap.
Pressure's on.
I know. I need to pull up my shit now too. God damn it. Where is my stuff?
Where is it?
It's in the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can go through. I was just going to let you read this, and I can click on the next thing.
Okay. So, what I posted up was HR 945. It would empower the Treasury Secretary to revoke nonprofit tax status of organizations based on subjective judgment that they're terrorists supporting, i.e., what we were saying earlier this morning, the Stop Cop City hippie people that were like living in the trees trying to like stop them from taking over the land. Those guys were actually considered terrorist groups. And this bill would pretty much allow the Treasury Secretary to revoke any kind of tax status that they would receive as a nonprofit organization. So they would have to pay taxes, probably not get any grants, while, people like we were discussing earlier.
No federal assistance either.
Exactly. While at the same time, like we were saying earlier, people like Elon Musk and shit get subsidies, which is pretty much the same, and tax exemptions and shit too. And they're not 501c3s. So this did pass today, thanks to 15 Democrats who decided to vote Republican and help this pass. Um, there's it says 52 Democrats who voted in favor of the bill. There were concerns the bill would help the government, especially Trump's government, to attack pro-Palestinian groups, which definitely is what they're going to be doing. I think I already heard that Trump is wanting to ban pro-Palestinian protests. The House voted 256 to 145 to pass it, short of uh uh or not short of, but yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and I don't know too much about a lot of the or any of these politicians. It just sucks to see a couple of Californian politicians in here. I think Schneider sounds familiar.
Yeah, so excuse me. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, we all know that. Schneider from Illinois, I'm not really familiar with a whole lot of these. One of the main reasons I wanted to talk about it is mainly for the sense that now the United States government can kind of weaponize the DOJ to go after whatever charity group they want. So let's say, for example, because we're hearing what the argument is, our critique on it, let's also hear the other side. A Democrat's in charge, and there is a charity that is specifically a Christian charity for pro-life. They decide any language associated with being pro-life and choosing that over the will of the mother would be deemed a terrorist activity, a violation of sovereignty.
Ooh.
So that's just one of many angles to consider it from. And the other thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way ultimately about this is that not only will these different nonprofits not be able to operate at the level they do now and make the impact that they do, but anybody who donates, anybody who has donated, will be put on a federal watch list. You will be under surveillance, mass surveillance from the state. Your rights will be violated. And I think they're not just going to specifically target pro-Palestinian charities. I think anything having to do with Planned Parenthood, they're going to go after that. Anything having to do with civil liberties, so like Black Lives Matter,
ACLU.
ACLU, Ceasefire Now, you name it, they're going to go after it, and they're going to use the DOJ politically. So just keep that in mind, because over the next 4 years, we are going to see headlines of different charities that maybe they're popular for people regardless of like what political spectrum, being taken away or having their tax non-exempt status ripped away from them.
Wow.
Now we get to talk about something fun. Not really fun. It's actually really depressing. In Argentina, this guy rose to power. He kind of looks fucking, Jimmy said, like a Beatles member. To me, he just looks like some fucking greasy fuck that would be in a bar in the 60s who would be trying to talk to you about the Doors and shit. That's what he just looks like to me.
Same difference.
But you might be asking yourself, well, this is fucking weird. We jumped around all over the place, and now we're talking about Argentina politics. This has nothing to do with America. I say to you, nay. I say to you that what we are about to watch is basically kind of the future that we're going to see here in America. A little backstory. Javier Milei. Who is he? What's up with this? Well, he's an anarcho-capitalist. Libertarian, anarcho-capitalist. He is somebody that believes that the state is evil. He believes that the state is inherently bad and that they perform no good services, rather. God, I can't English. And then ultimately they exacerbate the issue and make people too reliant and not, they don't incentivize any entrepreneurship, blah, blah, blah. And the appeal that he came in on was slashing a lot of bureaucracy. He was talking about like, yeah, all of this red tape, all of this bullshit that people have to step through, I'm getting rid of it. All this stuff that is unnecessary, I'm getting rid of it. I'm making cuts to all this. What were some of the things he was making cuts to? The Department of Labor and Statistics, Department of Health, Department of Oceanic Observation and Rescue and blah blah blah. Like all these different programs that do serve functions and do overall good, even if it's inefficient. This guy was like, no, we're taking it. Like there was a video where he's like, oh vaho, and it's just like taking it out. He loved going around campaigning with like a chainsaw and shit in his hand. But yeah, so we're gonna see what austerity politics will do, what it looks like, what to expect.
And neither will the quality.
Competition. We always hear about it. But then you end up looking up how many corporations own the certain percentage of share of the market.
That's what I
And
was
then
just
you end
gonna.
up. Oh, go ahead.
That's what I was just gonna ask. Like, I wonder how this guy's gonna feel when the Dunkin' Donuts moves in across the street from him.
Yeah, or when some Americanized chain opens up.
A Baskin Robbins with 31 flavors while he's over here with like 5 really rich, expensive flavors. Like, bro,
Or a
you're
Godiva chocolate opens up on him,
right. Like this guy's screwing himself right now and he doesn't realize it.
So I think it's very important.
It's
The good
that
thing about
temporarily
Milei is his
embarrassed
honesty.
millionaire mindset.
He's like a child. If you lie to him, he gets angry and shouts.
Do you like that or something?
And yes, he shouts a lot. But at the same time, he's very transparent. What he says,
he's real.
And that's rare in a politician.
Transparent about what? He doesn't even tell you what the programs are that he's cutting. He just says that it's woke and then says, I'm going to cut them. Like, that's not transparency. If a
But
guy
no, that's
goes
the whole
around
thing.
saying, if a guy goes around saying that I tell the truth all the time, you're just going to believe that he tells the truth all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
Bro code. It's a bro code, but no, literally what he was just talking about, that's literally the same sentiment that gets brought up here in the United States. Let's listen to it again.
And yes, he shouts a lot. But at the same time, he's very transparent.
So that thing right there, what he just said, yeah, he shouts a lot and kind of acts like a kid.
Yep.
It's the same thing that you'll see with Trump where people are like, yeah, he's kind of obnoxious and kind of mean and rude, but like, at least he's honest.
Yep. That's so fucking true.
So, and what they say with that, and obviously they're not saying it directly, so don't try to fucking debate lord me over it. But what they're saying is essentially, yeah, what they're saying is bad, but at least they're being honest, so that's why I'm going to vote for him.
Right.
Because people like transparency.
Like, right. Like, I know he said that my family's going to be deported, but he said it to me openly, so I think I'm just going to vote for him now.
Yeah, and you know what? Since he said it openly, and he also said he's only going to go after criminals, like, I believe him.
Right.
He hasn't been president before and hasn't done anything like that, so. Watch last episode.
An omnipresent state that gives everything, that doesn't believe people should be rewarded according to their merits, that thinks everyone has the right to get something and no one has the duty to do anything.
So, I love this argument. I love it. You hear it from so many people. We're like, I don't know, man. Like when you have welfare, just kind of incentivize people being lazy and not wanting to work. And they look at it from that perspective because they're like, okay, well, they only work part-time and they specifically only work part-time because they don't want to lose their benefits or whatever. And obviously there are some people who do that and take advantage of the system, but overall the majority of people don't really have a say in whether or not they get to work full-time. A great example, Walmart, one of America's largest employees. You know what they do? They specifically keep people under 40 hours. They schedule people to be at like 39.7 or 39.3 hours. They try to keep it to make sure that you are not a full-time employee, so they don't have to give you benefits, so they don't have to fucking, take into account your humanity.
Yep.
And again, I know so many people who have told me about how fucking hard they work, and I know them personally, so I know that they're not like a lazy slop or anything, who continuously get overlooked for jobs. I mean, shit, a lot of us, we have parents that we saw who busted their fucking ass for how many years, and it didn't get them shit. If anything, it just gave them more debt. So we don't have a merit-based system, because if we did, there'd be a lot of fucking families, specifically lower-class families, who would now be rich because they would be elevated, because if we had a merit-based system, that shit would mean something. Their hard work would be valued.
Yep.
But it's not. Hard work isn't valued. You know what the saying is? Don't work hard, work smart. That's been the fucking American motto for as long as I can remember. And then simultaneously, these douchebags want to turn around and try to tell you, but you have to work hard. I don't have to, but you do.
Yep.
And everybody just eats it up, dude. Like, I truly, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe we're all fucking actually aliens or lizard people and shit. Who knows?
Just
I don't know.
just in your own anecdotal experience, tell me how many people have at least bumped up a little bit in life more, doing their jobs, having, the same job for their entire lives, or somebody who's had a job, uh, accidentally hurt themselves on the job, sued the company, and came up with a whole bunch of money really quick after like years
Yeah.
of fighting it. Because
Yeah.
I can tell you the latter, I know personally, I've experienced more people like that than somebody who I know has been working in a fucking office cubicle for 25 plus fucking years.
Well, also ask yourself this too. How many times have you seen either the dumbest or most worthless piece of shit in the world get a job that pays super well because their dad owns the business or they're friends with somebody who owns the business? Think about how many times people have gotten promotions because, their connections with the owner.
Right?
I mean, at the end of the day, people even admit it, but they also ignore it at the same time, which is another mind blower, because they'll say the majority of job hunting is just knowing people. The majority of being able to find a job is just knowing people.
100%. You are absolutely correct. And thank you
It's
for the
about the
follow, Minxie
connections you make
Rose.
with them.
Yes. It's
Oh
who
shit,
you know.
Minxie gave you a follow too. Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what Millet has turned away from, and I celebrate that.
From an economic point of view, I think he is sensible. But he's a bit off beam, politically.
He's sensible, but a bit off beam. That's, again, another argument that we always hear from people that support Trump here in the United States. Like, yeah, he's a little bit different, but I still support him.
I have the impression that he lacks the ability to engage in dialogue.
Their last hope.
I just want to quickly say before they transition, I always find it hilarious that things like this, right, where we see like people getting fed, like obviously I'm not critiquing and saying like that's horrible. It's great that they're getting fed. But for whatever reason, people will see that and be like, yo, we need to make a fluff piece out of that. You know what sounds really good? You know what's going to inspire hope? Bringing up the fact that people have to rely on fucking charity to dictate whether or not they're going to die.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You see
Because
that in
the government
news.
can't be efficient enough. So like they have to rely, and ultimately it's frustrating for me because it falls into the libertarian, the right wing love bomb of like, yes, charity, rely on the private citizens charity so I can use it as a talking point and say, hey, you remember that one time the rich dude helped out a poor person and gave him a nickel for his birthday? Oh,
Right.
Hopes on the
Absolutely.
churches,
which are doing what they can to alleviate the crisis.
And again, they'll always talk about how, yeah, the government shouldn't do handouts. The government shouldn't do handouts. The government shouldn't help people. People should help themselves. But then they'll also be like, yo, Elon Musk gave money away to did this. Yo, this person gave this money to charity. Oh, so you're perfectly fine when it's a private person, when it's an individual or a corporation, when they give money to somebody. That's not a handout. But when the government does, something that the government is supposed to do, by the way, then that's a problem. That's the thing that's crazy. The government is supposed to fucking help you. That is what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
But people are too fucking brain broken, and it's not even that they're like stupid. It's just everybody, including myself at one point, has been completely brainwashed by the absolute fucking slop that we're force fed through TV, radio, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that
And then you have
obsessive,
some
like,
people that
idolization.
instead of even facing this shit, you know what they'd rather talk about? They'd rather talk about fucking aliens and lizard people because it's the easy thing to do. It's the easy thing to do. It's going to get you views. It's going to get you money. You're going to be the cool guy because everybody likes talking about crazy shit because everybody likes smoking weed and being goofy.
Right. You get to laugh it all off instead of actually coming up with any actual solutions while people are still out there dying every day.
Yeah, or at least just even having like discussions, right? And informing people of the impact of local politics and also informing people of what things actually mean, breaking down definitions for things. So instead of just hearing words like Marxism, hearing words like socialism, libertarianism, anarcho-capitalism, they can actually know what the fuck it is, what it means. So then they can actually start making informed decisions because people are not stupid, they're just misinformed. And when you refer to people as stupid or call people, you know, that are specifically from the South Bubba and imply that they're fucking too dumb to know any better, then that's just like you're not doing anything to build better. But if you say, hey, you know what, we need to reach out and we do need to talk to people, that's cool. That's awesome. You're doing something. It's not activism. It's not going to be like in the grand scheme of things anything, but it's something. It's a start. And there's so much you can do.
Yep.
Whether it's get active, like I said, in local politics, look for different groups that are in your area. Start finding causes that you support and find ways that you can get involved locally. Because that's the only way things are truly going to change, right? Like, I think first and foremost, one of the main things that needs to happen in America is that people need to improve themselves. Okay? And this isn't coming from you in like a bro manosphere podcast. Like, you just gotta lift weights and shred. It's like, if lifting weights and shredding and all that shit is a part of you bettering yourself, then do that. But ultimately, just work on improving yourself.
Yep.
And then once you improve yourself, then you can start focusing on trying to improve the people around you, your community.
Yep.
Or fucking bathrooms. Wait, what?
A Franciscan
Oh, people being obsessed with talking about fucking bathrooms? Yeah, that shit.
Yeah.
mission runs one of the soup kitchens in Buenos Aires called the Good Samaritan. Every Friday, it opens
Yo, look at, hey, yo, shout out this kid. He knows what's up. He's like, hey, about to get some food to. And also, let this video be, kind of proof for a lot of libertarians. I often get into a lot of heated discussions with libertarians, and what I always tell them is like, yeah, I get what you're saying, liberty is great and everything, but you do need some sort of like functioning force that enforces regulations and can step in and make sure that things are being done properly. Like, you need that in a society. If we weren't living in societies, if we were living caveman status, then libertarianism and its ideals would be a little bit more practical, I guess. I still wouldn't like them, but like, it would make more sense. But we don't live isolated.
Right.
Like, yes, we are individuals, but we live in neighborhoods. We're not the only individual within, 5, 10, 15, 20 miles.
Yeah.
So you can't try, and that's my main thing against that's always kept me against conservatism, is just this idea of like having to uphold tradition And you look at a lot of the old traditions of the West, and it's like, no, I don't want to prescribe to any of that shit. Like, that goes against who I am as a person.
Right.
Like, old traditions is restricting people's access to power and wealth based off of things like their IQ or their gender or their race or their religion. And everybody always wants to talk about merits. Like, I would much rather just have, somebody based off that.
Yep, I agree.
But again, we don't value that in society. The only thing in American society specifically that I can think of that is close to like a perfect merit-based system would be sports. And even then there's politics in the shit, because you could be the whole thing and something else. You could be the next Michael Jordan, but if you say the wrong things, you're not brand friendly, you're not getting into the league. You're not getting a chance. You're not getting on a good college team to highlight your skills. So there isn't that illusion of choice or freedom. And it's, again,
right.
Libertarians, pay attention. Sorry to go off on a tangent. I just want to rewind this really quick because, no, you're right on that. But let's just hear what this motherfucker has to say again.
Yes, sorry.
To have benefited so
No,
much.
you're fine.
Malay and Shafuan believe the elites
But
associated
I just
with
want
previous
it because
governments now need to
he
adapt
says
to
something
the
that
new
we've
era.
fucking heard before.
I hope that those who have benefited so much from the state so far will pay their employees higher wages.
I hope that the motherfuckers who have money and are going to get more money will give away some of their money to people who don't have money.
With the air quotes. You see he did the air quotes?
Yeah. Where have we ever heard the idea of like, yeah, hey, if we make sure that people who are rich get more money, that shit's going to overflow and it's going to come down to us too? Where have we heard that from?
The amazing trickle-down economics that America has.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan. Shout out to my boy.
When revenues increase at some point.
Good luck with that. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah,
And
you're not
they will
getting
take
that.
the risk of investing.
They will take the risk of investing. Ugh.
Like we wouldn't as regular
The only way to
people.
reduce poverty.
No, you know what I hate about that fucking argument? They're taking all the risk and taking the risk of investing. You know what happens? You know what happens to a motherfucker who has enough capital to just start up businesses and shit like that? When the business fails, you know what they do? They start a new fucking business. You know what the worst case scenario is for a person who is a business owner? You know what the worst case scenario is?
Yeah, they lose a
They-
yacht.
They have to become a worker, and that frightens them because they know how shitty workers have it because they employ people and they know how they treat their fucking employees. That's why they always get freaked the fuck out about that.
Yeah, that's what doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like most of these CEOs, like the worst that's going to happen on this risk investment is like that, like I said, they can lose a yacht or they could become a worker. Like you have some regular ass Joe Schmo, like regular person who doesn't fucking have a job, like who, working, minimum wage, minimum hours a week and shit. Get a loan or a grant from the government of like, $20,000 for a fucking startup business. You're telling me that is not a bigger risk than losing a fucking yacht or becoming a regular worker? Like that guy would literally risk his entire life for a $20,000 grant for a fucking startup business. That's a risk. Like those are it baffles my mind when they say that these like rich bazillionaires are taking a risk when they're investing in a business that could not seem profitable. Like, yo, Elon is point proven that you can take a bunch of fucking risks as a rich man and still come out on top with no fucking scratches. You have that happen to a regular ass person, man. Man, if they fucking put $20,000 in everything that they owned into that fucking business and it failed, they would have nothing. Nothing. Literally
Well,
nothing.
not even just having to add like that scenario, because let's be honest, if especially if you're fucking laid off, the bank is not going to loan you money because how are you going
That's
to
why I
pay it
said
back? That's
grant.
never going to
Yeah.
happen.
That's why I said grant because I was like, oh, loans. I don't know.
That's not going to happen. But even taking away all that and stripping it down to like bare necessity, okay? Again, a business owner, a capital owner, worst case scenario, they have to be a worker. They will still be able to get loans. They will still be able to be bailed out from the bank, or they have estate assets that they can sell off. They have liquid assets that they can fucking sell off. They have whatever. They're fine. You know what happens to average workers where if they fuck up and do stock buybacks and the company ends up going into shit, you know what happens to the worker? They become homeless.
Yep.
Because they get laid off.
Yep.
And they're on unemployment, and unemployment doesn't pay you the same as you were getting paid from your job. It's a very small percentage of that, of what you get paid.
Well, that's just the proof of
So you
what
can't
these.
keep up with rent, you can't keep up with your mortgage, you can't keep up with anything, and you
Right.
end up losing your fucking house.
Right.
So then you're homeless, and then being homeless, you can't get a job because you don't have a consistent place to stay. You might not even be able to afford a fucking cell phone.
Right. That's why it was very important to even put in the air quotes here because there's no way that trickle down economics has ever been proven that it works. It always ends up being stock buybacks. These companies don't care about the employees, and Argentina is obviously proving it really, really fast. But they're still going around saying the same fucking rhetoric.
Yeah, no, and this is shit that we're gonna hear over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
The same argument that this motherfucker is making right now, we're gonna see on Fox News, and we're gonna see on CNN and MSNBC. If Comcast doesn't get rid of MSNBC, like our boy California had told us about the other night.
Long term is to create a world
Yeah.
in which entrepreneurs are taken seriously again.
Entrepreneurs, yeah, because we all know entrepreneurs are not taken seriously anymore. In the age of fucking annoying entrepreneurs who never shut the fuck up, we totally don't take them seriously. It's not like an entrepreneur that's one of the worst and dumbest fucking pieces of shit in the world just got like nominated to be part of a presidential cabinet position. But yeah, we need to take them more seriously. The world does not do that at all.
How did we get to a point in where we think that companies are going to save economies? It's so crazy to me. Like, the guy's sitting there in front of a college talking about how we need more companies in there to give people more jobs when like we've said a bazillion times like this is what governments are for is to help people who can't get by, but this government's completely ignoring it, saying that these uh governments are bad, companies are good, and now companies are the heroes. It's just but we just already proved that stock buybacks, the trickle down economics doesn't work. Like the, I hate to say your hated word, hypocrisy, and the irony is just it's like always just in your fucking so much in your face. I just don't understand how they don't see it.
Yeah. Well, and again, that comes down to corporate America's ability to infiltrate all avenues of life and kind of dictate and manufacture consent. And ultimately basically turn the failures of corporations into being the failures of the government, which in some cases is somewhat true because the government failed to step in and do anything.
Yeah.
But also in a lot of cases their hands are tied because, lobbyists.
Mhm.
Let's see. I could almost buy this, but Trump has no convictions. Trump is a narcissist, but I think ultimately he is like a quote business guy. He's a shitty business guy,
He is.
but he is a business guy nonetheless. And
Yep.
I think one thing that it's not necessarily a conviction, but one thing that he's going to do is he's going to cut the deficit.
Yeah. I mean,
Because as a businessman, that's thing number one,
Vivek
right? Like,
Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are his two top guys, and they're business people.
yeah, and they've already talked about specifically what they're going to do.
In the government.
And Trump even came out and has said numerous times in his own rallies that he does plan on taking, basically austerity measures, which is happening right now in Argentina. Like, I get what you're saying in the sense where like Trump people have made the argument that like Trump isn't fascist because fascism relies on, having, ideology and principles, and Trump doesn't really have those.
Mm-hmm.
And I can agree with that to an extent, but excuse me, I do think it's important to point out that a lot of the policy that he's trying to implement, a lot of the things that he says are fascist and do dictate austerity policy.
Mm-hmm.
I could almost, other than criminal variety, the best person in the world is here. Yo, what's going on, Roxy?
Hi, Roxy. Yeah, I think we
Hey,
should
girl, hi.
one time we should do, or one of these days soon, we should do a whole episode on austerity policies and
Mm-hmm.
how that got started and the manipulation with that, especially like the Clinton era of making it look like austerity politics look really good to the average voter when in fact they're actually voting against themselves for
Yeah,
the
and
quote
again,
unquote
a lot of
future
that,
of America.
and again, a lot of that revolves around like the American concept of, like, if you ask an average person, do you think America should be run like a business? A lot of people will be like, yeah, it should. It should be run like a business, because our idea of what a business is run like is like it's fair. There's these, systems set in place. There's these rules. There's these regulations. Efficiency, and we like that. It's a great concept, but we don't think about the other side of business, which is where they don't look at Deborah from accounting as a person. They look at Deborah from accounting losing them 2% over the quarter, and that's not good. That 2% could be the difference between making another big investment or, whatever. So that's one of many issues I have personally with trying to have the notion that like government should be run like businesses. They shouldn't. Roads. Here's a great example. Roads are not efficient in the way a business would have you be, right? Because to maintain them, to keep them up and active and safe, it costs a lot of fucking money. And you don't really get any money from roads unless you have a toll system. And even then, not all of that money goes to the road. So like,
Yep.
oh, sorry, I saw poor Deborah. Poor Deborah.
Wait,
But
who's
yeah, I
Deborah?
think
What did you call me?
exactly. But no, like I was saying, I understand how some people try to make the argument that Trump doesn't have convictions, but he has convictions to uphold to, because he did make promises, and the people that got him into where he is now, he has to kind of do what they need him or want him to do. Because ultimately, I think Trump is another George Bush-esque. I don't think I don't think JD Vance is going to be running the government like, Dick Cheney, Democrat, great friend of the show. I don't think that at all. I just meant more so he's somebody that can I don't know, more or less like be able to hide behind a lot of the people that he's insulated himself with.
Education.
Wait, what was that?
The local university.
The education ministry is abolished?
But for years,
Yo, that's crazy, because they're talking about fucking completely gutting the Department of Education here. I wonder what that's going to do. I wonder how that's worked out.
Financial difficulties. Millet has now introduced drastic cuts in education and science.
Is that the school? Is that the fucking school?
Has been abolished.
Yes, it is. Education ministry has been abolished. Yeah, so yeah, the fucking education ministry is gone.
Backtrack it like 2-3 seconds. Look at the outside of that fucking school.
Millet has now introduced.
Look at that!
Yeah.
Look at it!
Yep.
Oh my
Hey, but you know
God.
what? Inflation's down.
Drastic.
Y'all, this is UCLA in 20 years.
The education ministry has been abolished. New university projects canceled. And the budget for higher education slashed by 70%.
70%? 70%? No wonder the fucking walls are crumbling and shit. God damn.
Looks like a fucking bird's nest.
Yo, it looks like a fucking Walking Dead episode, dude.
Yeah, like it's been abandoned, like Chernobyl.
If Argentina has a large middle class, it's thanks to the public universities.
I will say, I think we shouldn't refer to it as third world shithole because that's kind of disrespectful. But yeah,
Aw.
we're definitely going to turn into an underdeveloped nation. Actually, you know what? I'll even go further. America is already an underdeveloped nation. Why do I say that? Look at our roads. Look at our governmental programs, whether it be trash collection, whether it be sewage, water treatment facilities.
I agree. We are definitely an
School.
underdeveloped nation, and the only reason why we have power is because our military budget and the U.S. dollar as a world currency. That's it. That's
Dude,
like we're hanging
we're
on
an
by
under
two nose hairs.
we're an underdeveloped nation that has access to a private jet
Yeah, pretty much.
because we
Like
can
I said,
touch down anywhere.
yeah, we're pretty much holding on by two nose hairs, and that's
Which
it.
made it possible for people to improve their standing. The children of working.
Well, and ultimately, like we have to put humanity back into a lot of things. We can't sit there and just, for example, right? Like, I don't really like, a lot of Trump supporters, but I have friends who are Trump supporters, and I can't just be like, well, fuck them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I still think that if you're a Trump supporter, I still think you should get free healthcare. If you're a Trump supporter, I don't think you should be jailed or punished for being homeless.
Right.
If you're a Trump supporter, I don't think that you should be denied the right to have, access to public housing that doesn't come with like a religious requirement or social contract that you have to sign.
Right.
Like,
Okay, like Yemen might have universal health care, but like the tribes in the Amazon, they don't have health care and they're not shitholes. They're kind of cool, actually, if you ask me.
well, and Yemen is also considered by quite a lot of people, unfortunately, to be a third world shithole. But again, they are also under subjugation from an imperialist government that is backed and funded and armed by the United States.
Yeah, they're getting bombed
It
by
is a
Saudi
clear
Arabia.
attack on the public
They were the
sector,
number one
including
most
public
starving country in the world
universities.
before Gaza.
Malay calls them places of brainwashing and says everything is ideologized and politicized, that the universities have been conquered by Marxism.
Oh,
The universities have been conquered by Marxism and they are fucking breeding grounds for liberalism, socialism, and communism. Jesus fucking Christ. Did I not say before this that we are about to get a look into like America now and in the future? Because this is America now and in the future.
mm-hmm.
This is America now in the future. And keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. All the shit that we're seeing. Keep this in mind because I have a goodie. I have a fucking goodie after this.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Just wait.
weren't you just saying, was it yesterday that like some of these conservative people, like media people and politicians are like talking shit about these woke colleges, but they like actually went to these woke colleges?
Yes, no, exactly, 100%. A lot of them, a lot of people that you see on Fox News, they went to Yale, they went to Harvard. Ben Shapiro was in the Ivy League. Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, all these guys, they're all part of like the same liberal circles.
Right, and you're
They were
telling
just
me
all
out
weirdos.
of like Yale University class of 1999, out of like all 4,000 students, you're the only one that came out thinking this way, and you're right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think anybody who has actually gone to like a university that wasn't um, heavily known for being like leftist, right? Before this new wave where like every college is leftist. But like, like Berkeley, Columbia, Kent State, like places where there have been history of like activism and shit, right?
Hmm.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a minute.
You're all right.
All these things he says
Sorry.
sound a bit paranoid. As I see it, universities are the basis for a fair class distribution, for the distribution of wealth and income. That's why this attack is so bad, because it's the universities that give access to a much more equal and even liberal system.
Oh yeah, no, but what I was gonna just finish with is like you have a very small select few schools where you actually might have a lot more like maybe socialist or socialist leaning professors, but overall like you're going to have a lot of neoliberal, a lot of neoconservative, a lot of libertarian professors throughout school. And that's where, like, that's why I don't really understand a lot of this shit where it's, oh, they're getting brainwashed, they're getting fucking turned into Marxists. Because, first of all, if you think a Marxist is somebody like, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, then you have no fucking idea what you're saying at all. And shouldn't even like be listened to, let alone considered serious.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone from Argentina who would be great for y'all to have a discussion with. Well, as long as they don't fucking refer to people from other countries coming from shitholes and stuff like that, I might be. Yeah, dude, why are fucking tensions rising in society? He's brought down inflation, man.
Right. I wonder why.
The economy's strong. We defeated Medicare, dude. What's wrong? Ads are here, folks. Bet. You know what? While you guys are on the ad break, Jimmy and I are going to talk shit about everybody that's in the stream, and you won't get to hear it starting now. So, man, let me tell you something about Kayla. Okay? I just got to tell you. Smelly feet. Smelly feet.
You know that bitch farted on thing in voice chat with me yesterday?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That's why Cookies and I lost our shit.
I do. I
Fucking.
fucking, as soon as she did it, I was like, Kayla, did you just fart right here in front of God and Country? So bitch was like, I did it with my mouth. Please, bitch. You farted.
Yeah.
You farted.
Yeah, it's okay. Look, there ain't no shame in your game.
That's
Everybody
right.
toots.
That's right. That's right. Lift that shit up, pull it to the side, make sure everybody can hear it.
Jump down, get around, turn around, the butt, scoot, and poopies. Or whatever he says. No, Kayla's good people, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Kayla. Appreciate everybody who's in here chilling, lurking.
Yeah.
Everyone who's participated in the stream.
Yeah, y'all are killer. Today's been fun.
It's been a really good stream. I had a lot of fun. It was great.
Yep, I agree. It's been an emotional roller coaster, but it's been fun.
Shit, honestly, can I just be real for a minute?
Yeah.
Can I just be real for a minute?
Sure.
I got enjoyment out of it. And this is the reason why. Because I knew yesterday, just based off of like the real smug comments and like, the condescension and just everything that today was going to happen. And he's just another one of those dudes that they're like debate bro wannabe edgelords, and they have this thing where they just have this urge that they have to be like pedantic, and they just have to be so fucking annoying and just swarmy and just gross.
Mm-hmm.
Without saying anything directly, like, if a random person sees it, they just see the sentence and they don't understand the context that, or the dynamic between the people. And so then they could, get to hide behind, victimizing themselves like, I was just being nice. I was just saying things.
I was joking.
When I was just kidding. And it's just like, I got enjoyment out of it, because the moment that dude started being like, yeah, moron, dumbass, and then also I knew I could get you upset, idiot. And it's like, okay, well, obviously you're upset because you keep throwing personal shit in, because according to you and your principles and the shit that you stand on, that's a low blow, and you don't do that because you're more educated. You were better than me. You were smarter than me. But then you just did it while simultaneously saying that I'm dumber than you because I'm doing that. But you're doing it too.
Yep.
And then you're trying to play victim. That's how I knew. And that's when I started getting excited. That shit literally had me excited. I was like, please, dude, just please start. Just keep fucking talking. And keep avoiding my question, because I was actually being genuine. I wanted to fucking hear what he had to say about the road to revolution, because I also want revolution. But I'm not a fucking idiot. I understand that revolution is something that just doesn't happen overnight. You can't just tell people go out to the streets and start doing shit. They have to know what the fuck they're doing. They have to know who their enemies are. They have to know who their allies are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just tell people to go out into the street, because then you know what you're going to get? Nothing. You're going to accomplish nothing. And
Exactly.
all the work that had been accomplished up to that point, before you decided to go down that road, gets washed away. And no credibility gets put towards your cause for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So good job. High five. Really great for the fucking revolution.
Yeah, and that's the shit I'm
So,
fucking sick of.
so I just wanted to get that off, because that shit, you know what? That shit pissed me off. And the main thing that pissed me off was just the fact that, like, you have asked him to leave you the fuck alone, and he didn't. And against my fucking instinct, I was like, you know what? Maybe he won't be weird. Maybe he won't be a dick. Right? Maybe he will just come in here and just, like, want to chop it up and talk politics and not make things awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that'll be the case. But he had to be a fucking asshole.
Yep.
So, at the end of the day, I'm fucking glad I did it. I had fun doing it. And what's really funny is that I know that he's still watching, which is really fucking pathetic. Like, dude, you've been sticking around the whole fucking time for almost 4 hours, and you're probably, like, screen capturing or recording this to use for your show or some stupid shit, so you can be like, look at this SJW that I triggered.
Right. Which is,
Meanwhile, you're like a fucking middle-aged man. Like, dude.
yeah. I wasn't
Dude,
expecting him to come in today. I really wasn't. I didn't think he would, but yeah,
But I just had to get that out there, because obviously it was a very big part of the show today, and I'm just glad ultimately it didn't do anything to derail the show. We still got to do our thing.
Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah.
And if anybody ever tries to unban that motherfucker in here, I'll ban you too. Because it's not me banning him because, like, of a disagreement. I banned him because he was a condescending prick, and he's stalking somebody who has asked him numerous times
Yes.
to leave her alone.
Yes.
And this goes for anybody that knows Warren mutually, that's friends with Jimmy. As a friend of Jimmy's, if you want to consider yourself a friend, and if you're a man, as a man, it's your responsibility to stand up and check your friends that act like that. So if you're friends with fucking Warren, and you think it's completely fine to harass somebody and stalk them, then you can get the fuck out too.
Right. And if you
And I
don't
just
think
wanted to
that
say
he's
that. And I'm not trying to speak for Jimmy, but it's just like, that's fucked up behavior. You have to, especially now with everything that's going on, you have to be protective of people in your community. Plain and simple.
Thank you. Yep, I agree. And if anyone doesn't believe that he's stalking, I mean, I've got the screenshots for the past month to prove it, of me asking him to leave me alone, me blocking him in places that he keeps finding me at, him adding new accounts, him titling his streams to slight at me. There's a lot. It's been a lot, and it won't stop. So I was actually going to ban him yesterday, but like I said, I did not expect him to actually come in here. I thought he would just go away about his business, and he didn't. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying that Twitch is just another place that he's banned me. I'm pretty sure within the next couple days I'm gonna get another thing from another place from him. So it's not gonna stop.
No, and honestly, like, since he wants to operate on the level that he is, like, no, that shit can get aired out. Because the main issue is everyone's always afraid of drama and shit like that, and I get it. But ultimately, people like that need to get exposed. If you're a fucking weirdo, you need to get exposed.
Right. I agree.
If people ask you to leave them the fuck alone, leave them the fuck alone. It's that simple.
Yep.
And honestly, that's the only thing that pissed me off about any of that. Otherwise, other than that, like, some fucking old white dude is not going to impress me. It's not. like that's not gonna impress me. The shit that impresses me is like motherfuckers who are just bullies and swarmy and just That's the shit that fucking ugh.
Yep.
But yeah, just wanted to get that out, and I think it's important for Jimmy to be able to get out what she said too, because I think like a lot of times as a content creator, there is that fear of exposing stuff like that because it it could be like a chain reaction. It could be a bunch of bullshit that comes with it, but like you have to be able to speak your truth and you have to be able to defend yourself. Oh, great documentary. Kayla, I will definitely make sure. And actually, if you just want to take a note right now, Argentina after 1 year of President Milei, it's part of the DW documentary channel. I'll leave it up for a quick second. We just got done watching the documentary 1 year after Javier Milei. This is a tweet that somebody originally had put. This Javier Milei became the president of Argentina and achieved what economists said was impossible. In a 2-hour interview with Lex Friedman, he explains how he slashed 3,000 regulations in 6 months. And he was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and Lex Friedman, of course, was like, "Wow, man, that's really amazing. That's really cool that
situation we received.
It's really cool that like you starve people, and that's like really centrist and moderate of you. Please tell me more."
And based on that, I will tell you each of the things we did when we first took office. Basically, what we found was that in the first week of December, inflation was rising at a rate of 1% per day, which means 3,700% annually.
This is a clip that I wanted to watch.
Strictly speaking, I am an anarcho-capitalist. I despise the state government. I despise violence. Let us suppose we take the...
Yo, I despise violence, like direct violence, even though also I like sending out the police to beat the shit out of people protesting. I just kind of like more of the indirect violence, you know what I mean? Like starving people, famine, shit like that.
The definition of liberalism, I usually use the definition of liberalism given by Alberto Venegas Linchijo, which is very much in line with the definition of John Locke, which essentially matches the definition by Alberto Venegas Lynch Jr., who said that liberalism is the unrestricted respect for the life project of others based on the principle of non-aggression and in defense of the right to life, liberty, and property. So I frame all of the discussions within those terms, and the fact is that when you get to that notion, I would dare say that you become an anarcho-capitalist de facto. And what that describes, it is an idea which represents my ideal world.
Yeah, just an awesome guy.
Gross.
First month as president, cut 50,000 government jobs, eliminated half the ministry, slashed thousands of regulations. What did that do? Well, that's a good question. There are times when I don't have enough food to feed my children, said Silvina Rizzo, a mother of 3 in a shanty town on the outskirts of Salta in Argentina's mountainous north. Rizzo said she now cooks with wood because she cannot afford gas for her stove. Her youngest daughter is terrified of the wind and rain that rattle the tin roof and walls made of plastic bags. When it rains, the neighborhood floods, but where am I going to go, said Rizzo. I don't have anywhere to go with my children. Rent is so expensive. The number of Argentines facing moderate to severe food insecurity has almost doubled to 36% over the last 7 years, a United Nations report said this year. 1.5 million kids miss a meal each day and are eating fewer nutritious foods like meats and vegetables that have become more costly. We are seeing cases of scurvy, cases of eye injuries due to vitamin A deficiency with corneal injuries, said Norman Piazza, a pediatrician specializing in nutrition. These things existed in Central America, Africa, Asia, but we never seen patients here who had an eye lesion due to lack of vitamin A.
That's crazy. Like I said earlier, scurvy is the kind of shit you hear about pirates.
Yeah. Because they're out in the ocean away from like any access to fucking produce.
Mm-hmm.
They have access to produce.
Like pirate shit is coming back, you guys. like pirate diseases. That's wild.
According to a study published Monday, poverty rose to 55.5% of the population, affecting 25 million people in the South American country of the first quarter of 2024. At the same time, indigenous, a situation even below poverty, reached 17.5%, with the food insecurity scope of 24.7% of the population. The observatory, which belongs to the Argentinian Catholic University, where President Javier Milei once taught economics, has measured socioeconomic indexes for years. In urban areas, a study found that poverty, determined by the value of basic food basket, reached 24.9 million residents, while some 7.8 million were in extreme poverty or indigence. Total food insecurity for urban areas surveyed by the ODSA UCA survey reaches 24.7% of people, 20.8% of households, 32.2% of children and adolescents. On the other hand, 10.9% of people, 8.8% of households, 13.9% of children and adolescents are even in a more serious situation with severe food insecurity. The Structural Societal Debts in Argentine Society report noted. When considering the Buenos Aires metropolitan area, the values of food insecurity are located in 26.4% of people, 21.8% of households, 35% of children and adolescents. When considering severe food insecurity, they stand at 9.9%, 12.7%, 16.5%, respectively.
Damn.
Yeah, so things are going great. All of the
Yep.
cuts that they're talking about doing here in the United States that are mimicking this, this is
Mhm.
what we're going to see. Kids are going to be fucking going blind. There's going to be lesions, all sorts of shit, all sorts of illnesses. It's going to be fucking bad.
Yep.
And this isn't like fear mongering scare tactics shit. This is just like literally stuff that's going to happen.
Yep. We're already seeing it out there. I mean, this is the future of America right here.
The future is gonna be amazing.
Amazing.
$318 billion. Yeah, that's why that dude says the future is gonna be amazing. Because you ask a normal person what the future is gonna be like, they'll tell you it's gonna fucking suck. And
Mhm.
that's regardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Yep.
I think that kind of wraps up today's show, though. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to end on, Jimmy. Anything that you wanted to bring up.
No, that was a good show today. Great job.
Excelente. Yes, no. And once again, thank you to everybody who partook,
Yes.
everybody who hung out, everybody that was part of the process.
Mhm.
Not 100% sure when another show is going to be coming, but one will be coming soon. I know Jimmy and Willie are going to be doing their show tomorrow.
I think he's rescheduling it to Tuesday.
Tuesday. Gotcha.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, guys, love, peace, and chicken grease.
Stay high, free Palestine. Bye.